everybody, welcome to Frog Stocks. Not that I say it's financial advice, entertainment purposes only. I'm going to go over what is going on with this lawsuit that came out that's being spread all over the place. We're going live on a Twitter space call, and I'm going to get to it. So let me turn whatever music I had on there. Sorry about that. I'm going to turn my mic off, and I'm going to get on the space call. Make sure I am proper. Test. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to get set up on the stream here so people to. Oh. Setting. Let's see if I. Properties. Tech audio. Test. Oh, well, maybe if I join the space call on my PC, that would help. There we go.
What you trying to do now, man?
Trying to get my stream set up so everybody can hear, but I don't know if it's. There we go. Okay, now we're streaming. I'm looking at this lawsuit, which we knew was coming anyways. Talked about this 6 months ago, but I'm looking at some really weird stuff with this lawsuit, man. They're posting a link that's from a cloud server, and if you go to the Delaware court and you search for Chancery and you search the Delaware court's cases, you can't find anything on this. So it's really weird.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know, man. If now this thing don't pass, can you imagine this ape thing don't go? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine this ape thing not passing and the people, those who have ape and all that stuff?
Do you really think that the entire board of directors at AMC as a company, Antara Capital, really went through all this without dotting their I's and crossing their T's? But yeah. I'm trying to look this case up right now, and I cannot find anything in the Delaware courts on this case. All I see
is it's put on a cloud server just because of where it's coming from. But you can search the transaction ID or the case number on top to find it.
I am, and I'm not finding anything in the courts. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking right now. I'm searching the different areas of the Chancery Delaware courts, and I'm not finding anything at all. So this document is off of a random cloud server.
They all come like that. They come like that even on AMC's website.
And the case number is not even complete. 2023, 2015 with nothing afterwards, that's an incomplete case number. So I'm trying to check the validity of this
and
first
it was also
before
e-filed.
Everyone blows it up because you can make an e-filed document. I could do it today, like 5 minutes. I could make another lawsuit that looks just like that.
Well, and it was just filed yesterday, so you have to. I mean, it may take a minute to come in.
No, if it's e-filed and they have the document, it would be in the system the same day. It just looks really suspicious to me. And before everybody blows it up all over the internet and we're making videos and getting YouTube money, I think people need to verify the validity of it first, because this is on the back of somebody passing around an email talking about, oh, you can't vote APE and AMC because they're common and they're preferred shares. And Amy explained this the other day, that APE is actually a depository. It's not a preferred share. The preferred shares are held in deposit, and APE is the 1/100th unit of that, which is filed as an ADR. So it doesn't act like a preferred share. I think somebody,
Spencer,
if
why
the
don't you
case,
look up the attorneys whose names on the filing, and it will be there. Grant
okay,
and Eisenhofer.
so you're in the Delaware court, the Chancery Court.
No, I'm on the filing, and they have the attorneys,
Yeah.
the counsel for the. It's on here. Look, go all the way to the bottom.
Yep.
to
But
find
can
the
you find the actual case in the system?
on the Delaware Chancery Court?
Yeah, and let's just say for benefits doubt that it's going to take 2 days for it to put into the e-system, which it doesn't, but
The case number is 215. Like, so it says 2023-215.
I can read it. It's an incomplete case number. So if somebody filed this, I can go in and e-file anything I want, and then the court looks at it, they stamp it, and then they say, okay, is this legitimate or not? But right now, I'm trying to look it up in their system, and I cannot find anything in their system.
You went to the Court Connect thing?
Yep. All you got to do is type in the defendant, not the defendant, the plaintiff, and they've got cases in there, but not for this. So we'll give it another day or two, like you said, but I've got a very weird feeling about the wording in this lawsuit. Looks very juvenile. It looks like something an ape would type up that maybe has a little bit of grace and dictation. But basically all they said in it was everything that we've been talking about on Twitter for months. I see very little regulatory citation, which makes me wonder what this is. Because right now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases from the plaintiff. None of them have to do with AMC, and they're all closed. And even Marine's starting to talk about now. He goes, this case number looks a little strange. There's Al. Maybe he can shed some light on it.
We got Pedro too. I would love to hear from Al and Pedro both, man.
Good morning.
What you think, Al?
So I just missed whatever you guys just said. I assume it's the Allegheny. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking in the court case search system. There's nothing in there.
So it's actually Delaware Chancery Court. Ethan
Right.
validated it. He sent me a picture about 40 minutes ago. I looked at it, and it's real. It's there. It's just not in the Fed. Remember, there's a qualitative difference between a state court in Delaware and Fed. No, for the sake of the listeners. So that's why you might not see it on some of the.
We're on the Delaware Chancery Court search page right now, and there's nothing in there.
I swear to you, I just saw a screen cap like minutes ago. Let me see if I can post it. You know what?
Yeah, go ahead. That's just it though. I'm on the court page searching it, and there's nothing. Let me double check the case file again. Not that it matters. This is going to take the time it's going to take to get any action on this is going to be at least a year.
Ethan's here.
Ethan's here.
What up, Ethan?
No, I don't think it's going to take at least a year because this is
an immediate filing. This is like an injunction type.
Yeah,
order.
It's an immediate filing for an injunction. Like it's not going to take a year.
Case.
Like I mean, like.
Go ahead, Ethan. Fire off.
No, Spence, what was your question? Because I just jumped in.
I'm trying to find this case filing in the Chancery Court system, and there's nothing in there.
You're not going to find it. This is an archaic, very old. They haven't adapted. You got to call in, which I did. I spoke to the clerk, and I asked her. And basically, if you look at the what's it called, the caption on the top right, where it's
it
red.
has the transaction ID.
Yeah, it's filed electronically, and then it has a case number ID. You can call the clerk, and the number is. I'll give it to you in a second. You could call this number, which I did, 302-255-0544. Give them that ID number. That's the docket number. And then you could ask them what was filed, and she'll substantiate it.
Say that number again.
Sorry, boy. 302.
No.
Sorry. 302-255-0544.
Okay, I'll give him a call later when we're done with this.
Yeah.
It's legit, though. It's legit. I mean, I went through that document, ran it through. There was some, and me and Ethan talked about this just a little while ago. They tell a story, and it's a very credible story. And when you put all the factoids, little facts that we spout out during calls and videos, and you paint a mosaic, what you see is malfeasance. And it's not even like it's arguable. You can't argue this away. There's no way to justify some of the things that he's done. Pete from Philly has said, I mean, at least I listened to a dozen of his calls. He talked about different financial instruments that you can use to raise money. Like a dozen, right? He didn't do any of that stuff. And right now, the way I see it, what they did was a roundabout way of getting rid of American shareholders. There's a reason why the foreigners are not allowed to invest. Antara is in the United States, right? They're in the United States. And all the other investors, all whatever, are either in the U.S. or overseas. If they're not allowing the foreigners to invest, because they stand, believe it or not, they stand to lose the most. Our dollar is strong. They'll lose their fucking ass. Forgive my language. They'll lose their ass on this. Those people, you know what I mean? So it makes sense why he would do something like this. It makes perfect sense.
See, they're quoting regulatory SEC regs in here, though, that are actually outdated. They're not even viable anymore. That's my problem with this. And one, if we confirm it's real, then it's real. I want to see it filed on the Chancery Court webpage before any of this actually, I
mean, here's the thing.
I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming. We've talked about lawsuits for a long time. It's blowing up really quick.
The transaction
But from what I read through this filing, it's no different than what we've been saying for 2 years. It's
I don't
literally no
understand
different.
why that's a problem, though. I mean, like, these are complaints from shareholders, and shareholders have been complaining about this. Like,
but they're citing regulation that is no longer applicable with the SEC.
We don't know
like
that.
What?
No, I mean, you can go on the SEC website and you can check. You can check. Jesus Christ. I'll tell you if you quit interrupting me. Good God. Hold on a minute. There's multiple SEC regulations that are cited in the B series in this filing that are outdated or no longer applicable with the SEC.
Can you point to the specific one?
Yeah.
If there have been abrogations within the law, I don't know. That seems very murky to me.
Pedro's here too. I want to listen to what Pedro has to say. Pete, you there? Pete.
Are you talking about the Part B that's taking advantage of significant rise in the company's stock price fueled by retail investors? The board sells virtually all the remaining authorized shares of common stock?
No, there's multiple reg show violations in this that are cited that are no longer applicable with the SEC. There's a few of them that expired in October of 2008 in the 204 series rules that they're citing that have absolutely no weight in court anymore. You would have to go to the applicable FINRA regulations, but even then, this APE transaction, besides the shady way they did it, which you might get him for insider trading, which is why I filed an SEC complaint on that. But citing these reg show violations that are outdated and no longer applicable aren't going to hold up in court when the AMC corporate governance has allowed since 2013 for this APE to happen the way it did. Now, if they get Adam Aaron in an investigation and they get him for insider trading between him and Antara, then I would say this would hold some weight, but I just don't see it.
Okay, I'm still trying to find the SEC file, like the SEC ruling that you mentioned here.
Ethan, go ahead. Ethan, go ahead, man. You don't have to raise your hand. Go ahead, please.
Are we having connection issues?
Well, what's it called? If you look at the PDF file and you look at the complaint, the key points to see what this lawsuit's about is go to the count, which is the causes of action. Basically, this attorney, on behalf of the class, is filing on the first count is a breach of fiduciary duty. And then the second one, he cites Delaware law. He cites DGCL section 242B. And he's requesting a declaratory judgment for invalidity as to the preferred shares. So basically, there's two causes of actions. And then at the end, if you really want to know what they're really requesting, you go for the prayer for relief. And they itemize it through A through H. So there's two declaration requests, meaning two declaratory judgments. Oh, sorry, three. And then they're asking, I want to see what their injunction is, though.
They're asking for an injunction on the vote.
Yeah, there's.
I just scanned the whole document.
Same here.
For SEC filing or SEC quote listings, and there aren't any.
There's nothing on here that has the word SEC in there.
No. It's basically a cause of action is fiduciary duty, breach of fiduciary duty, and the second one is Delaware law.
Yeah, and look, the injunction is on behalf of them circumventing shareholder will, right? So they're stating that he created APE, right, and then he sold it as a dividend, but then he comes in and he gives the equity distribution to Citigroup of 425 million APE, and then he makes the deal with Antara, which is all to circumvent shareholder will, and they're saying that because of these two things, the Citigroup deal and the Antara deal, he effectively took vote away from shareholders. He secured the vote with Citigroup and Antara, which is, I said this from the beginning, he locked the vote. He locked the vote to get the quorum, which is 33%, and that's what this is saying.
Completely agree with that.
And there's no SEC. There's no SEC sightings in this, so I'm not sure what you're.
Maybe I misread the DGCL as the SEC sightings, but
that's from their articles of incorporation, and it's talking about the certificate of designations that from the articles of incorporation. It goes into how this whole plan with APE was to circumvent retail shareholder or from shareholders from doing it again, right? And then he gives the thing to Citigroup and he gives the thing to Antara, right, which completely disregards the rest of the shareholders, and they're saying this isn't right because y'all had no vote in the APE issuance, right? He came up with that. Then they decided to give the preferred to Citigroup, and they decided to do the thing with Antara, and therefore that circumvents shareholder will.
It's also to eviscerate the.
So when you look at it face value, it does look like that's exactly what he did, but you've got to prove it.
Exactly. That's what I'm. Why does Ethan keep dropping?
I don't know. I think he kept he might be driving or something. Ethan, go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand. He might be driving. I think Al's driving too.
So what? So to further add what Amy said, there's two causes of actions. In order to win, they have to prove count one and count two. One, like I said, is breach of fiduciary duty, and I think breach of fiduciary duty in Delaware, they might have 4 to 5 elements. So when you read the complaint and you go to averment number 92 up to 99, that narrative they got to prove. Everything above it, they what's it called? They adopt. I mean, they reallege. So they got to prove that as well. But at the end of the day, each cause of action has certain types of elements. Breach of fiduciary duty, if I recall correctly, has either 4 to 5 elements. And then the second, which I stated before, the DGCL section, they have to prove that part. So within that storyline, the allegations,
So Ethan, I think
100 to 107, they got to prove.
Yes, but I think how they prove that, and this is just my personal opinion, how you prove it, or the proof is within the computer share deal, right? So he gave he made this an ADR. It wasn't trading. It's trading as an American depository receipt, right? Which is just a digital entry where computer share still is the rightful holder of the preferred stock. So how you prove it is because that means that they basically they can override or they can push the vote a certain way. But because of that, because these preferred shares weren't actually issued to shareholders, and computer share is the one who ultimately can vote.
Owns the preferred.
Right, correct. So I think that's where the proof is within the ADR and computer share deal. To us, it looks very to me, I guess I'll say that's kind of the shadiest part of the whole deal is that it was issued as an ADR, and that therefore that he presented it like foreign investors were going to have a say, but being that it's an ADR, that I believe eliminates foreign investors, and then ultimately computer share owns the preferred stock. The shareholders do not.
So the elements that Ethan is talking about, the breach of fiduciary duty for Delaware Chancery law, as it states, goes like this: fiduciary duty. The defendant must be a fiduciary who owes a duty of loyalty and good faith to the plaintiff. Breach: the defendant must have breached their fiduciary duty by engaging in conduct that falls below a standard of loyalty and good faith. Causation: the plaintiff must establish that the defendant's breach of fiduciary duties was the cause of their damages, and damages itself. The plaintiff must have suffered damages as a result of the defendant's breach of fiduciary duties. In my opinion, I'm just a law student, a first year L1, that is more than enough to get Adam Aaron with. That's more than enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that he even made APE and ADR is enough.
Everything
it proves that there was not, that it wasn't done in good faith for shareholders, in my opinion.
This was engineered. This was thoughtfully engineered. Correct.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that whatsoever.
Hey guys.
I mean, I think it's going to be, the first hurdle is going to be to get to discovery, and that's where it all comes out. But APE, I said this it was 3 minutes after APE I sent it to Spencer. I was like, now you can't leave. It was obvious that it was literally the shittiest deal for retail.
So, hey guys. So just a different perspective on the lawsuit. I'm a graduate of law school. I'm a graduate of law school. I don't practice law, but I work in finance. So it's an interesting lawsuit. I guess some things that come to mind is each share, each common shareholder was given an APE. So in terms of, establishing harm, to the extent the argument is, the apes have, effectively a supercharged vote, or value is going from AMC to APE. If each shareholder was given an APE, that makes it a little bit harder to make that argument, because the shareholder had to make the decision if it was so valuable, if it was, had better rights than AMC, that they could have just held on to it. You could just hold on to the ape, and you're therefore not harmed. So that's one kind of issue that comes to mind. I do agree that the depository trust agreement aspect is probably the one that's seems to have the most merit, and will be interesting to see how it plays out in the lawsuit. But there's that interesting element of this case where, to the extent you're arguing harm to AMC shareholders by the issuance of the APE, the fact that they issued the APE to the AMC shareholders, makes it hard to make that argument because they were given this. They were
Yes, but
given the shares.
only if that was if the share, like, so he issued 516 million in the filings, which is where I kind of pointed out that it's the wording, like it's this plausible deniability thing that he always does, right? It says it 100 times, like the initial distribution, the initial distribution, the initial distribution. But it was widely known that he had 4.5 billion additional APE shares to issue. So
Yep.
so yeah, you can say that yes, that they were given those shares, but in the I went back and read APE, all of the APE information, right? And it's in there. It's a lot of wording to make you feel comfortable, like we have no intentions of converting, we have no intentions of selling, a massive amount of additional APE. Like, it's in there. It's in those filings that are, it's like, nobody freak out. We're not going to dump 4 billion APE, whatever, blah, 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 blah. You can go back and look at the Q&A. It says it in there. And that they had no intentions of converting, right? It wasn't until APE fell the way that it did that all of this came about, like seemingly out of the blue.
So arbitrage, let me ask you this. What do you think being you said you were graduated, correct?
Yep.
What do you think on, do you have an opinion on time frame on this? And do you think that there's enough evidence to actually tie Adam Aaron to these allegations that would hold up in court?
So I don't have a strong view in terms of how quickly this plays out. I imagine because the shareholder vote is on March 14th, that AMC will quickly seek, a motion to dismiss, and an expedite, to have this reviewed on an expedited basis, given the timing. In terms of how it plays out, it's not totally clear to me. My instinct, because I didn't practice law, so I would speak to someone that really understands Delaware, Delaware corporate law and in the process there, to understand the timing, because the timing is going to have a big impact. But just my instinct is, number one, you have the business judgment rule, which is just very, very, very difficult to overcome in Delaware. Delaware Chancery Court, and then in terms of fiduciary duty, you have to look at, the inverse, and the inverse is, well, what if they, are prevented from, doing this conversion, basically, conversion reverse split? Well, then, then they'll have to issue more APEs, and the APEs are much lower priced than the AMC stock. So issuing more APEs, you just get way more diluted per dollar that the company receives than if you were able to issue more AMC at at the higher price. So one could argue that if they don't do this, that is a violation of their fiduciary duty, that they're harming shareholders by issuing more APEs at a much lower price, which they were issuing at as much as 66 cents, because the difference in the price got so drastically different. So, if you're looking at if you're going in front of a judge and you're saying, Judge, they're harming us because, they're going to convert the APEs into AMC so they can sell more they can sell more shares at a higher price. If they say, well, the alternative is we sell it at a lower price, AMC could say, Your Honor, we're doing this because we think if we sell more shares at 66 cents or whatever it might be, that harms our shareholders even more. We have we think we're doing our fiduciary duty. And that's really the substance of the business judgment rule, which basically says the courts aren't going to go in and basically substitute its own judgment for the board of directors when it comes to these kind of issues. So
Right.
unless something is really, really, very flagrant and really outside of the bounds of what anyone would see as could be reasonably argued as reasonable, it's very, very hard to overcome that. That's just my initial instinct.
So, well, I think
Pedro got
I
his
think the part that's going to be important is that APE, when it was issued as 1-to-1, right? And it was issued as having the same economical value as AMC. But as he made this deal with Citigroup and Antara, he made APE the more powerful one, right? So he made APE like the what is it, 929 million, right?
Yep.
Outstanding. So they're alleging that he incentivized APE holders to approve this deal and to approve the proposals by making APE the more powerful stock, I guess we'll say, and thereby basically eliminate, because if it's supposed to have an equal economical value, equal vote, then one shouldn't overpower the other.
Yep.
But with this deal with Citigroup and Antara, it did.
Yep. Well, yeah, I think you're right that the aspect that's probably most interesting of this in terms of where there might be some merit or it's not clear. I mean, and I'm not an expert in Delaware corporate law, but just on the face of it, that's not clear. How a judge would look at it is that depository trust aspect where basically the preferred shares are going to be voted. The non-votes of the preferred shares are basically going to be voted based on the proportion of preferred shares that are actually voted. That aspect is interesting. It's not clear how it's going to.
So it says, so in the filing, right? It's saying that because of the deal with Computer Share, that here's an example: if the holders of just 3 APE cast votes on a corporate proposal, say 2 in favor and 1 against, Computer Share will cast votes for all of the nearly 1 billion outstanding APE, 2/3 in favor and 1/3 against, regardless of the number of votes actually cast.
Here's
right.
what's interesting.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what that does basically make it easier. It makes it easier basically for March 14th for the board to pass this vote to convert the shares, and it was done for that reason. That's why it's kind of interesting to see how a court would ultimately look at it, and I don't have a strong view on legality of that.
This is the biggest part.
Spence, we got
uninstructed shares. The uninstructed shares of Class A AMC will not be voted that way, right? So they're basically saying that they don't have the same voting power, and because of the computer share holding the preferreds, so it's not the same. It's not 1-for-1, and
Here's what gets me about this suit that's filed, and it's on page 41, subtext C. It's declaring that the board's issuance of preferred stock was not properly authorized and that the preferred stock is invalid under the DGCL. But the problem is, when the preferred stock was allowed to be created back in like 2013, it was already incorporated under the DGCL into AMC's incorporation. So for them to say it's illegal, maybe what you guys are talking about with the depository where they broke it down into APE units, potentially, but to try to pass that in court when AMC has had this in their corporate governance, their certificate of incorporation since 2013 under Delaware is kind of weird.
I agree with that. I think that, and that's going to be a really strong position, and why it might be dismissed. This all might be dismissed. Before going to discovery and in trial and all that, because the charter has been public, and the ability to issue preferred shares without any limitation on what kind of terms the preferred
But
shares.
not as
You know,
not as 1/100.
yeah.
Not as the five. Like he turned 50 million preferred shares, which would not have made an impact the way that APE is, into 5 billion.
Well, no, it could. No, it could without the 1/100 because you can just put a liquidation preference on the preferred. You know, that's like 100,000 per share. There's nothing that limits what the liquidation preference of the preferred shares could be, or what the ratio. Let's say you create a convertible preferred, and you say the preferreds are convertible into X many shares. There's no limitation on how many shares you can make it convertible into. The only limitation is how many common shares have been authorized. So you could theoretically create a preferred share that's convertible into, let's say, what is it, 1/100th per or preferred. Now, let's say you create a preferred share, it's convertible into 100 common shares. You need authorization of enough common shares to be able to convert it, and that's why they're going through this process. But there's nothing that would stop the issuance of preferred shares that were convertible into a lot of common, or that had a very high liquidation preference, which would just be just as dilutive, if not more, because
But if it was just a normal preferred, it wouldn't have voting rights because they would get a guaranteed dividend.
No,
but he can't
preferred.
do that.
No, preferred shares. Preferred shares can have all kinds of rights. It's really whatever's in the charter. So if the charter doesn't say it can't have this, if the charter doesn't say, very explicitly that the company cannot issue a preferred share without the vote of the common, with XYZ terms, you could do it. And if it's not against, Delaware corporate law. So, I mean, I don't know how many preferred shares you've looked at very closely, but, they can have all different kind of rights and terms, and there's really no limit. The only limit is what's in the charter. So that's what's going to be. These are what's called blank check preferreds. And the reason they call it blank check is because just like a blank check, the terms aren't written on it yet. So you can make the check out for $1 million. There's no limit what you can make the check out for. That's why they refer to them as blank check. Historically, the purpose of them was to, prevent a hostile takeover of a company. The board would be able to threaten someone who's trying to take over the company by making a tender offer for the common shares. And the company will say, well, we're about to issue a bunch of, these super dilutive preferred stock if you dare do that. That's why companies will have,
well, that's kind of,
have an authorization already.
Past. They did this.
Yeah.
They did this with Wanda. Wanda had owned 61% of the company through preferred B. And when he diluted, right, when he did the offerings, when the outstanding share count was 100 million and he raised it to over 400 million. Exactly. He kneecapped them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the last time they issued the dividend, right? They didn't have voting rights under their preferred B. And he basically leveraged buyout, did a leverage buyout, and he kneecapped them, and they had to convert all of their B to A. And so this isn't the first time he's circumvented.
Yeah, but and that's the issue with the lawsuit, is that it's not really a circumvention. Like when you buy the shares, this is all public information that the companies can do this. So that's what makes it hard when you go to Delaware court. They're going to say, well, the charter was public and it was, filed on Edgar, and you could have read it if you wanted. And it was very clear that all this stuff could be done by the company. And, that's what makes it difficult. And that's why, if you read, that's why, for example, when you look at bond investors, when you buy a bond, the terms of the bond are so important, because basically the company will do anything and everything it can do if it gets in a jam and it doesn't want to pay the bondholders back. Whatever is allowed under the terms of the bond indenture, they're going to do it. And similarly, when you buy a stock, you have to look at the charter and you have to say, what are they allowed to do and what are they not allowed to do? Because a company will do whatever it is legally allowed to do if it's, if it feels it's required to do so in order to survive. And, one thing I think that this conversation hasn't really touched on, which is, why is, the board trying to do this? And, my view is, the company has a lot of debt. You know, they have a lot of debt. They're not yet generating enough cash to pay off their debt, and you know, there's a risk of, just like the other, you know, movie theater companies, of filing for bankruptcy. And when their stock price is very high, you know, and potentially someone argue higher than is justified by the fundamentals, it's in the best interest of the company and in the best interest of the shareholders for the company to issue more shares, raise cash, do so with the least amount of dilution, so that they can pay off the debt and they can, you know, basically avoid, you know, bankruptcy. And you know, that's basically what my view of what the board is trying to do. They're trying to avoid bankruptcy. So you can argue, actually, this lawsuit is really in the long term in the best interest of shorts, because if this doesn't go through, then what's the company going to do? Unless they're not allowed to, they're going to issue more apes, and the apes are going to crash in price if this lawsuit is successful. Apes are going to crash in price, and the company's going to say, well, we can still issue 4 billion apes. It's better than nothing, and it's either this or bankruptcy. So they'll issue the apes, and that'll be way more diluted for the common. So the shorts will win that way. And if they don't do that, if they're not even allowed to, let's say they were successful in
The shorts win with the reverse split. I mean, they're
yeah,
shorts are
yeah, but
they're in
putting
a hell
that
of a
aside,
position
just
right now
let's
because
say
with the
this
reverse
shareholder,
split,
yeah, but putting that aside, let's say this lawsuit is successful, and let's say they're really successful, and not only do they stop the vote, but let's say they're also successful that the preferred shares were unauthorized and illegal and required a vote of the common, and that they couldn't issue more apes. So basically, if the company couldn't issue any more shares to raise cash, the prospect of bankruptcy would be extremely higher. It would be almost certain.
AMC would
It would be,
AMC would go to $1 that everybody Credit
yeah.
Suisse was talking
And
about.
it might not happen right away. There might be a short along the way, because a lot of the arbitrageurs who are short AMC, long ape, hoping for the conversion, would unwind their bets first, and whatever might happen in between. But eventually, the company would be much more likely that the company, you know, might face bankruptcy. So you know,
Yeah.
this
but
Okay,
that's our but who
hold on. Pedro has his hand out for the last 20, 30 minutes, man. Before going
But-
back and forth, I want to hear what he has to say too.
Yeah, please too, everybody share the call. Arbitrage, we'll come right back to you because I think you and Pedro are going to get into a really good conversation
Yeah,
on the
I
topic
want to
you're talking about.
Yeah, he has his hand for last 20, 30 minutes. Pedro, go ahead, please.
Hey guys.
Thank you for waiting, man.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time. I couldn't disagree more with the notion that was just said about the fear of bankruptcy and how APE might dip for a day. But we can sit on this call and talk about the probabilities of the lawsuit succeeding. None of that actually, frankly, matters, and it's not what I'm looking at all. The things that I'm looking at right now, okay, number one, they didn't sue every board member. They left out 2. They sued people individually. This is very important. Remember that Adam Aaron has completely been caught lying about the vote to raise money back a year and a change ago. He's on a Yahoo interview saying he goes out of his way. If you go, I've posted the interview a dozen times. He goes out of his way to say, I made the call to pull the vote. Okay, what we're going to find out here very quickly, and then in that his glad-handing selfie tour, he comes out and blames apes for not giving him the ability to raise. We would have been debt-free. Okay, he's caught in legal jeopardy right there, guys. Okay, because when he said he pulled the vote, if he knew and he was having conversations with the board of directors and his CFO, and he understood the dire nature of the debt service that was on this company and the financial condition of this company, and then he went basically renegade, and he alone made the decision to pull the vote. What we're going to find out real soon here is, was he bullying the board to do what he wants to do for his pals? We all know, I've been saying it for months, he's a dirty POS who deliberately pushed aside retail to crush this company down to a price and a level that he could hand off and cause massive dilution to shareholders to benefit his friends. That's clear. And there is a very clear case for that. Okay, but we're not going to get anywhere discussing the merits of it and whether it and the time frame and all this other nonsense. What matters is behind the curtain. Okay, these guys they have D&O insurance, and there's certain things that the D&O insurance does not cover. That's director and officer's insurance. For people who don't know what D&O insurance is, we're going to find out very soon how cohesive the board of directors was in all of this. Or was Adam Aaron renegade with a few board members? That's the thing that I'm focusing on. If this lawsuit is real, okay, I don't know the time frame, but it is absolutely very important that this has shown up when it has. Okay, and I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to find out just how cohesive the board was, or whether Adam Aaron was kind of running renegade with the support of a few board members. Because as soon as you start getting sued, okay, all sorts of stuff is going to come up, and you could see a fractured board and saying that, look, you took us down this road, and they're not going to support the company fighting back, and you're going to see division and you're going to see chaos behind the curtain. Those are the things that I'm focused on. The merits of the case and the timeline, who knows? Who knows? But the fact that it's filed when it did and it's seeking relief from decisions that were made by Adam Aaron and select board members by name is very, very important, at least from what I'm seeing. And so that's my take on it. I think it's a wait and see right now. I think I'm literally sitting there going, okay, Adam Aaron has bailed these guys out multiple times before when it's been critical and they're up against the wall. The most recent time was February 6th when he waived the lockup. You also don't even know about whether what went on behind the scenes on waiving that lockup. Was the board completely in agreement? Were there a few board members saying, what the hell is going on? And he went and renegade and pushed this stuff. So these are the things.
They got the ability to sell 140 million, so they can sell up to 140 million more of APE without Antara's consent. That was their part. That was their part of the waiver. So
yes, I know that. But
they got the ability to sell, and Antara got the ability to sell.
But pulling the lockup, okay, waiving the lockup, we don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened, and we don't know whether it was a unanimous. All I'm saying is we're going to find out just how cohesive this board of directors is. That's all. That's what I'm focused on. The merits of the case are who knows, and frankly, I don't even care at this point. I know that there's merits to it. That's another Spaces call at another different time. So that's my take on it.
I think you'll find out pretty quickly if there's merit if they grant the injunction. So that's going to be the first thing. If they grant the injunction on the vote, then you'll know if it has merit or not.
So here's the question, Pedro: can they put a stay on like this conversion and reverse split?
I'm not.
Theoretically,
that would be Ethan's wheelhouse.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, theoretically, the court could grant the motion for a stay, which is what the lawsuit they asked for a stay pending trial or the further development of the case. So theoretically, the judge could issue one. What will they? That's a question. I don't know for sure. I would be surprised if they did, I guess, but I'm not an expert on the various aspects of law here. I'm a little bit more aware than I guess a layman, but it's theoretically possible. I don't know how likely it is.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like this is for the lawsuit is for an injunction. They want to stop the vote. Okay, so if I don't know the likelihood of them granting the injunction, but if they do, then I think that it tells you that it at least has some teeth. I don't. That's the first thing you got to wait for. If the Delaware Chancery Court grants the injunction, then it's at least got something they want to hear.
So quality of the conversation is really great. So appreciate chat AI, everything going on. It's kind of interesting. And I went the previous week, we saw another movie. So I'm a big fan of movie theaters. I'm a big fan of AMC. I don't believe, the narrative of, streaming is going to make movie theaters irrelevant. I think people still want a reason to get out of the house and do something, and getting popcorn and soda and watching a good movie on a big screen. I think it's very fun. So I'm very bullish, and I'm involved. I'm involved not just in the stock. I'm also involved in the debt, because the debt is trading, at very distressed levels, really distressed levels, as if the company is almost certainly going to file for bankruptcy. I don't think it will. I don't think it should, and I think it's going to thrive over time. However, I think the company does need to raise money in order, in order to get back to pre 2019 box office levels. And the fact is if they can raise equity in a less in as little as with as little as dilution as possible, that would be ideal. I don't know what others' views are. Do other people think
No,
this company doesn't need any more money? And
No, but that should have been their plan in 21, right? He shouldn't have stopped the 21 authorized vote issuance if he had gone through with that. And the reason he didn't was because he didn't want to lose the retail base, and retail had a very adverse reaction to it.
Adam Aaron tanked the company, okay? And the just ask yourself, there's no reason for this conversion or reverse split. Yes, the company needs more money. They need a lot of money. And what he's done, and the absolute disastrous dilution that's already occurred, most people don't even understand. I ask people the same question. How many shares were outstanding prior to APE? Do you know?
516.8 million.
Okay, and then how many are in existence right now as we speak?
900 something
million,
close to $1 billion.
Combined. No, combined.
About 1.4 billion. About 1.5 billion.
He's already diluted by 929 million shares, and in exchange for that, he's gotten roughly back $350 million. He's basically, in essence, sold 929 million shares at 36.368 cents.
He took AMC Retail's money, gave it to Antara, and now he's going to raise $1 billion off the back of what he just gave to Antara.
That's where you have legs. You have legs in APE, right? So did he do APE? Was it the plan to circumvent retail, right? Because
yes,
he could have just asked for an addition, but
he did ask for an addition, and the shareholders voted it down.
I understand.
That's not.
But what I'm saying is, APE.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Shareholders didn't have a say in APE.
Stop talking each other, man. Let one person talk so we can understand what the fuck you guys are talking. One person at a time. Thank you.
Okay. So did he issue APE because he didn't want to go through another shareholder asking the shareholders for the additional authorized shares, right? So that's was the issuance of APE the workaround of retail? All the way back from when he even issued it as a quote unquote dividend that took half your value. But from right there, he had an option to ask for more shares or issue APE, and he chose to issue APE. Was the intentions of APE to work around retail having a say in raising of authorized shares? If the answer is yes, then that's a problem.
Then it goes, go ahead, arbitrage.
So I guess if the answer is yes, I guess that would mean that he didn't think the shareholders would vote to authorize additional shares. So what would you like? I'm just curious. What do you guys, if you were the CEO, what would you do? The company needs money. What would you do in that situation if you need to raise capital? You don't want the company to file for bankruptcy. You know that the movie business is going to be there long term. You know that the people who are bearish on the industry are wrong. What would you do to basically, if you were in that situation?
Well, at what time frame? At what part of this saga? Now or back when he should have done the right thing instead of deliberately tanking the company? So is it now or then?
Either one, either one. And
Okay,
and,
well,
and I
back
don't have a
then,
view. I'm just curious, what you guys.
no, but I think you're a little misinformed. There's an interview where he says he pulled the vote. Okay, that's a total fallacy that retail voted him down from being able to raise money at 45. There's an interview where he says he unilaterally, by himself, his call, made the decision to pull the vote, to not have the flexibility. He even said, he goes, it was running favorably. It was going to pass. He pulled the vote. Okay, it wasn't apes that voted against him. We had the votes. You know why he had the votes? Because every institutional manager on the fucking planet was voting yes because they understood the debt service and they understood the issues. He pulled the vote. So then he pushed retail aside. Then I can go down a litany of things that he did to sink this company, which he did. At $22 when we started this thing, when he split APE, or $20, had he just come out and asked for 100 million shares of AMC and been honest with the retail and said, look, folks, the turnaround's not happening fast enough. We're getting there, but our debt is catching up with us, and I need 100 million. Is why you do an ATM. He literally excluded the company's ability to hit bids. You file an ATM so that you can be in the market hitting bids. He did it so that he could only sell to institutional accredited investor funds. Okay, so he basically, even if APE went to 300 on the first day, he was in no, of the ATM being in the issuance, he was under no ability to actually call up Citigroup and say, yeah, sell 1 million shares here, sell another million. He would have had to wait for an accredited institution to come to him to bid the company for stock. Okay, he pushed retail aside. He rigged the thing so that he could go from there. Okay. Now, once this was done, so I've used this example a ton of times. He had a nice house. He divided the house into two, APE and AMC, right? He then diluted the hell out of the APE side of the house, turned it into a college dorm, okay, a fraternity house, trashed it, okay, diluted the hell out of it. Then he wants to take those diluted shares and then combine it with the virginal untouched AMC shares. No, there's been no dilution because he has no ability. He doesn't have any extra authorized shares of AMC to dilute it. So now the problem is, and I put out a thread on this a long time ago, a hypothetical, but it's what he's doing. Now he had to, so he took care of the APE side. He's now got to go turn the apes into AMC to bail out the shorts in AMC. So that's why he's doing the conversion. That's why he's doing the reverse split. So what happens is he's going to take your abused and diluted ape shares, merge them back into AMC, then reverse then he's going to come out and say, oh my gosh, I found a buyer of $3 billion worth of stock. And what that'll be, that'll be the shorts who get covered at a depressed price. If I'm a CEO right now, there's a 300, 400, 500% cost to borrow. You know what you do, and if you truly want to get these guys, you come out, you be honest with retail. You say, look, we need to raise some money. We're going to keep it on the ape side. I'm going to propose a 1-for-5 split, and I'm asking the AMC Army, we're going to sell stock at $5 post split, and we need to raise this many shares. First come, first serve. You want to know what's going to happen? The shorts in AMC are going to come piling into APE because it's a like security. And then so there will be your demand and retail. There's your demand to get the $2.5 billion or the $1.5 billion you need. Okay. We would still have fewer shares, total shares outstanding if you did it that way. If you did a 1 for 5 and sold 500 million shares, we would have less than the proposed way of what's going to happen. That's what I would do. And then even if the two stocks, and I would come out and say, we are not going to convert ever. We're going to keep these two classes of stock. Well, let's put it this way. We're not going to convert for 2 years, period. You know what will happen? Because these shorts, if they're sitting on their short side with a 300% cost to borrow, even if it's a 50% cost to borrow, let's discount the cost to borrow down 80, 90%. A 50% cost to borrow will kill them, because if the two sit together still and don't do anything, the right half of their short is going to eat them alive. So what they're going to do, they're going to come in and buy APE because it's a like security for protection. There's your liquidity play. That's why APE is not going to get absolutely destroyed. It might dip for a day or two. Sure. But then what will happen is that's a like security with liquidity. They're going to come for the liquidity to cover to have protection against their AMC, but it's really not going to long-term protect them if they can't get them converted. I keep talking that apes are apples and AMC is pineapples. Right now, only an apple can cover an apple and only a pineapple can cover a pineapple. What Adam Aron is proposing, and it's diabolically genius, he's basically setting up that an apple can cover a pineapple. And that's what the conversion and reverse split is about. It's about bailing out the right side of the house now. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a CEO now, I reverse split APE. The funding vehicle is already in place. You have a swift proxy vote saying 1 for 5 with additional ability to sell a defined amount so that people understand that we're going to do this in tranches. So you ask for 500 million shares, and then there'll be a new proxy so the retail has some level of control, and let their keisters of the shorts blow in the wind in AMC and let them just get eaten alive on 3, 4, 5, 6% a month. Will eat them alive. And you watch, the whole complex will fucking skyrocket. And then the company will be selling APE at $10, not 5 or not 3, or even higher, and be raising money at actually attractive prices, and then we're game on. That's what I would do right now.
I totally agree. And the interesting thing about what you said, Pete, is the at the market. Adam Aron could have sold all those APE at $5 to retail. Retail would have bought it up off the market openly, and he would have raised the money. I think this is back to the same.
But that's speculation. There's no way to know if that's true or not.
No, not really. There was the volume there, and there was absolutely. I mean, if you just do
those first 2 days of trading, that was just institutions selling. There's almost no institutions.
I'm not even talking about the first 2 days. If he had the ATM in place, any CEO on this planet that was using ATM, he told us it was going to be used for fundraising. The fact that he didn't have the ATM in place at the same time as or within a very short period of time, the fact it took him as long as it did to even file the fucking ATM is totally suspect to me. I'm like, okay, do it. I mean, it should have been done in the first 4 days. And then even if you were, God, you could take 4% of volume and go just look at 4% of volume on the move from $8 down to $3. You would have sold hundreds of millions of shares in the 4 or 5 range, right? Even just on a very light 4% of volume. If you ramp it up to like an 8 to 9%, I've executed ATMs for companies. Okay, yeah, you've got certain rules, but being 8 to 10% of volume is nothing. That's nothing. He could have absolutely raised more than $350 million in exchange for selling, which what he's basically done, 929 million shares already. So he has a lot of choices that he can still do right now, which is leave AMC alone. Every shareholder of AMC should be hoping that AMC is left alone, because you know why? That if it starts to go, Adam Aron has no ability to help them at all. He cannot. They need shares, and he can't give them to them. And so the only way, I can see AMC, just the AMC side go back to $40, not even including APE, right?
But
It doesn't resolve their situation. He's trying to bail out the right-hand side.
Yep. And Pedro, when everybody's saying APE is free, APE was not free. It was taken out of the money of the shareholders.
Correct.
And
Yes.
and the $1 billion. When he gave Antara 300 million shares for 66 cents, they're already up 700 some million dollars. First, they made money shorting this stuff to the ground, and now they're making money already up, hundreds of millions of dollars.
If this passes, they'll make $1 billion. They'll make $1 billion.
Everything this man has done only to help one side. He has done nothing to help his shareholders. We love movies. Everybody loves movies. We like to go. We like to take our families there too. But we are here to make money too for two years. We have saved this company, did everything, whether it was high craft, retail, did everything. And the only people made money in this company is Adam Aaron, his board, the short sellers, and the grifters. The retail still has to make money. So just taking, you can take your family to movies and all that. But a lot of us are here to make money too, because we are heavily invested in it. And if we are not making any money, these people are making money. What's the point of all this?
You should real quick too. I want to thank Al, Amy, Ethan, Pedro, and Arbitrage for coming up, and I guess Sugar, thank you for hosting. Even though your profile picture's fake, but I assume Al and Ethan are going to be hot on posting anything with this lawsuit once it's announced, or if there's any actions. Are you guys going to stay on that?
We are going to be managing this whole thing in terms of filings. We're going to be checking hourly, and Ethan and I will include Frank in this whole thing, and we'll report back to you. But just be vigilant. Something is going to happen. Don't panic sell. Don't do anything. Just stay vigilant and take everything you hear with a grain of salt until otherwise proven. That is my only advice I have. Just be mindful and just be observant of everything. That's it.
Yeah,
hey,
everybody.
Arbitrage. You asked
everybody.
earlier.
Hold on, Amy. Everybody in the call, please make sure you follow all the speakers that are up here today. If you want to get probably the quickest, most updated details on what's going on with this, because whatever side of the play you're on, this is going to affect what happens. I mean, APE dropped 9% today while AMC was up 15, and I do believe it's speculative, but I believe it was on the back of this news. So.
And I just want to say thanks to Al and Ethan and Pedro and Amy, all of you guys, because we are here to help people. We are not here to scare anybody, man. There are a lot of people down hundreds of thousands of dollars. The only reason we are doing these calls so we can help each other and people can make money and make their lives better. That's all. Yes.
So real quick, I wanted to just tell Arbitrage because he said earlier that there was all kinds of things.
Amy, give me 1 second. Pedro wanted to say something. I just want to hear what
okay. I'll wait for Amy to finish. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay. The in the original articles of incorporation for the preferred, they did not have voting rights. That was added in when they made APE.
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at it closely. My understanding is that these were, blank check preferreds. So I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, pull the articles of incorporation. Yeah. They didn't have voting rights.
Yeah, but the question is, the question is not whether they have voting rights or not. The question is whether they can issue preferred with voting rights. So that would be the question. And I was looking at it too. I'm looking at Section 7, vote required. Just looking at the language here. Here we go. Voting rights, Section 8. Except as otherwise provided by the DGCL or by the Certificate of Incorporation, and this is in parentheses, including any certificate of designation relating to any series of preferred stock of the corporation. So, every stockholder shall have one vote for each share of stock, having voting power registered in his or her name or on the books of the corporation. So there it says very explicitly, except as otherwise provided by the DGCL or a certificate of incorporation, including a certificate of designation related to a series of preferred stock. So it makes reference to certificate of designation, and that's basically what's issued when you actually create preferred stock that's authorized. So, like I said, I'm not an expert when it comes to Delaware corporate law. I'll be following it. What I do recommend you guys, who you guys should follow, if you really want some of the best writing on these kind of legal aspects, is Matt Levine of Bloomberg. He's a graduate of Yale Law School. He worked at Goldman Sachs. Argument here, it's probably going to be something more subtle, like the depository trust agreement and that structure and stuff like that. But time will tell, and I don't know. But it's was he circumventing shareholder will? That's the question. And yep. And Pedro, thanks for that input. It was very insightful. If I understand correctly, it sounds like what you're saying is you believe Adam Aaron could have raised money with much less dilution, and you suspect that maybe he has dual loyalty, and that maybe is that the?
I would say a first year MBA student could have done a better job at raising money than this clown. Okay, I'll actually say I believe he deliberately tanked this company. So you could take that, and that's what I think, and that's based on his actions and inactions. I would just remind people, we're all here for looking at the stocks and seeing what's going on. There's going to be, if something happens, but first of all, if there's merit, and if Adam Aaron was doing anything on a renegade or unilateral basis and didn't have the support of all the board, just buckle up, because anything can happen at this point. Once lawsuits start throwing around, just like anybody, you're going to stand up and say, whoa. You can go read the minutes. I was against this and I was voted down on this decision, but I have a problem with it now. You will learn the merits of the case on the actions of the company and the action in the stock. And so I would also remind everybody that if something happens that, let's say an injunction is granted and the vote cannot occur, there's going to be a ton of FUD that's going to try to scare the hell out of anybody in APE. They're going to want to talk APE down. But trust me on this, there's one phrase: APE is a like security of equal value and merit when it was issued. Okay, so what will happen is, if in the times of stress on the shorts in AMC, they will come into APE as a source of liquidity and also to potentially vote on another proxy. So just keep your eyes open and don't panic that if they come after it and try to tell everybody that it's going to here and it's going to there. I'm just telling you, people that are stuck in a short in AMC are not going to be looking to short APE, and they're certainly not going to, let's say that they were playing the arbitrage here, they're not going to turn around. If they're playing an arbitrage, if they're long APE and short AMC, they are not going to dump their APE so that they can be even more short AMC, because APE is a like security. So it'll be a faux FUD, fee, fi, faux, fum bullshit, another takedown, but behind the curtain, APE will be of value to anybody who is caught short in AMC.
But for people like Chanos, who are long APE and short AMC, he could be selling his APE and covering his AMC.
Correct.
If he thinks this has any merit, you know, like he could, that could be the discrepancy in the price today on AMC.
Sure, but the I don't think there's a lot. I don't think that I don't think it's enough to matter. Let's put it that way. If he says, well, I won't be able to convert, I'm going to unwind. He will sell his APE and cover his AMC. However, AMC shareholders, shorts rather, who are not long APE, who are just short, will be bidding for and soak up any APE. And so, yeah, there might be, like I said, there might be a dislocation for a day or two or a week. But I'm just reminding people that APE is a like security, and in moments of stress, prime brokers will accept a like security, and that's a big deal. So just don't be talked into APE has no value. It does.
And I
completely agree.
I just want to stress what Pedro said. Listen to whoever you want to listen. But, use your brain. Don't be scared and just go out, sell, it will go to zero. And a lot of these people, they play scare tactics. So do what's best for you. Listen to everybody, but do what's best for you. Don't just go on with somebody, he's selling or they are selling. No, just be careful who you listen and, who you trust, and be careful. We are all here to help each other so people can make money. Nobody's here to, spread FUD or like a lot of people are saying or scare people. No, but the lot of stuff Adam Aaron has done, it's just shady that this man has done in last 15, 16 months, whatever he has done, whether it was Highcroft, like you can just pick it up and go back last 15, 18 months, starting from that T0 when, he told Marc to stand down. Since then till now, everything this man has done is to help other side, not the shareholders. Otherwise,
okay, well, hold on. I'm actually gonna disagree on that a little bit here. So I think Adam Aaron he wanted to draw retail in, right? He wanted to have a strong retail base. He wanted to diversify the retail base, right? So whatever, he kneecapped Wanda, like so on and so forth, right? But then you have this Twitter army of people who are screaming this, I want this, I want that, I don't want you to do this, I want you to do that. And I think that he was stuck on the ropes, caught on the ropes for a lot of things, right? Like he had people, he said it in one of the calls, right? Like that he's gotten death threats, that he, blah, blah, blah. He's got people who love him. He's got it's this push and pull. And I think that I do think that he took the Highcroft deal to bail out Mudrick, right? Mudrick, that situation is a mess. And that I don't think was smart. I don't think it was smart. Hold on, let's just finish my statement here.
Go ahead.
So I think, the decision to acquire unprofitable movie theaters, like I can't believe nobody has asked for a list of the theaters that are profitable and unprofitable, especially since he's acquired so many since he came in as CEO. But it's this what he thinks is benefiting the shareholders, right? Like merger and acquisitions, right? He's always talking about that because he feels like that's what the shareholders want. The dividend, it's like buzzword CEO, right? Like if he hits all the high points, he hits the buzzwords, retail won't leave, right? And that's his biggest fear, right? Or that you will stop patronizing his business or being patrons of his business, right? He doesn't want to piss people off who are bringing in money to his business. So I do think that he, in his own maybe screwed up way, his intentions were to build shareholder value, maybe. And this is just me giving him a little bit of a leash here, or a little bit of a bone here.
Amy,
I'm not sure that his intentions were as nefarious as he intentionally tanked the company. Is basically what I'm saying.
I'm not saying he's tanking the company. I'm saying he used retail and he did it intentionally. I'm not saying about company. He used the retail from day one. When he needed retail, he was pampering everybody. He was giving shout out to all these people like trades and all these people. He used retail when he needed Highcroft mining.
Yes, sugar.
He gave people lollipops to suck on so he can keep making money and bailing his friends out. And now we are at a moment when
retail was there willing. Retail was there willing. They're still willing.
I know, but now
HYMC opened their store and people bought up those HYMC and AMC things, right? Like you're throwing money at him. What do you expect him to do?
I know, and now he wants to get rid of the retail. He used it when he needed retail. Now he's trying to get rid of the retail so he can have all the institutions piled in. So he won't need to worry about retail voting no or yes, because retail was the one who owned the company. If whatever retail said, it goes. So all this stuff, like people are still giving him credit. Anything that man has done has only done to damage his shareholders. So show me one thing that he has done to help his shareholders. Show me one thing.
Real quick, we got Marc up. I want to let him go. I don't know how much time he's got. I just wondered what his thoughts on this were.
And please don't interrupt when he's speaking or other. Let's not interrupt. Let him speak freely, or anybody else.
I just think the great thing is with every day, more and more people are starting to figure out this grifter. Everyone, slowly, people are starting to figure it out. And I think the tell not only was the T0 thing, was his stupidity and then trying to I had just about forgotten about this blowhard until he put out his thing when T0 decided to get out of crypto. Well, I've been after T0 forever to get out of crypto. Getting out of crypto before crypto hits the wall is a smart thing, not a dumb thing. And they're focused on the STO and digital securities. But when he re-engaged on that, and then everyone realizes that this HYMC was a scam, and he does this movie theater stuff to try to do this folksy thing to con more people into the con. And just ask yourselves, how did the needle land on Antara for them to make somewhere between $500 million and $700 million? How did the needle land on them? Wouldn't you guys have taken that trade? Would anyone on this have taken the trade? I would have taken that trade. If he would have gone to me and said, Marc, how about you take APE at 56 cents and here's what we're going to do going forward, right? I mean, everyone would take that trade. So what is it about Antara, right?
They were crazy short. They were crazy short. You can see it.
But then the real simple thing is, then he works with the shorts. If they're crazy short, they're the guys who have the borrow issue. Those are the guys who could get the shares called away, right? Not me. I've never been short a share of this piece of shit, ever, right? I could have made a fortune if I was shorted. But then everyone would have said, you're talking your book. You're trying to screw retail, right? If I'm shorted, I'm a bad guy. If I'm not shorted, I'm a bad guy. I guess I'm just a bad guy. But Antara, who makes $500 to $700 million, Adam Aaron gloats about at his theater love-ins. I mean, it's insane. It is, forget Jonestown. This is Aarontown. And anyone who owns this or sides with them or says Adam Aaron is great, it's just drinking the toxic Kool-Aid. It's insane. And the reason I keep getting fascinated by this is a sociology experiment par excellence on human behavior in this grifter just grifting the living fuck out of people. It's just something. And I have, I think right now, 17,200 blocks. 5,000 are probably from this great whirlwind. But it's something. I give you guys a lot of credit, Spence, Sugar, even you, Amy. I had you blocked forever, and some of these other people. I give you guys a lot of credit for still hanging around the crime scene and trying to help people out. I really do, sincerely. PJ, the whole thing. But it's something. And I hope him and the board, I hope everyone gets sued. I hope Discovery ties in Bigums and Trey and, all these grifters with Adam and Adam's son, and it's going to be something. Emails and trades just don't lie. And, again, it's fascinating. It's something. So that's my thought this morning.
He's mentioned in the count. Tremaine Collins is in the actual paperwork.
Yeah, well, again, this was a nobody who came on the scenes, who told everyone to buy and hold as he's trading options against everyone and collecting money. So, good luck to him. Where is he to answer this whole deal? He sure talked a lot of shit. And I think this guy Bigums belongs in a mental institution, in a straitjacket. And Travis, who gets his Wi-Fi from McDonald's, these are all just complete clowns who everyone listened to. So, these are the people who should answer to everybody along with Adam Aaron. This is, Spence, Sugar, PJ, you guys all know what I'm talking about.
But the whole this thing has been really sad, Mark. Like what we all came here for, and all these people, like just because of clout, ass kissing, and just for likes and followers, a lot of these people don't even care if they make money at this point. It's like, if you are not here to make money, why are you wasting your life? What are you doing here? Somebody like me who came here, and I am doing better than a lot of people, those who were born here and they're 50, 60 years old. Why can't these people do? But they're wasting their life just about this. Oh, you are a Shill because you do this call and this and that. Why are you not asking question Adam Aaron, who made $100 million in last 5-6 years? He's the one you should be asking questions than us and, calling us Shills, this and that. It's like...
Wait, just wait, Sugar. When this thing, let's just say if this does go through and it converts, you now have short sellers who have new AMC shares at $6.60 while the stock is over 40 to 50. Antara is going to make, I'm guessing they're going to make another 500 million off this if they
Wait, why
don't
do you
turn
think the
around and
stock's
dump.
going to be at 40 or 50? You think AMC is going to go to 40 or 50?
No, it's they're 10-to-1 reverse split. If it's 5 now, it's going to be 50 when they reverse split it.
That's not what's going to happen, because the conversion is going to happen first, which is going to massively dilute the stock into maybe $1 or below $1.
Okay, so it's 550.
So it's going to trade around 10.
It's 576 right now. It'll convert at 430 then. Whatever. The
Well,
point
what I'm
is,
saying is when it converts, it's going to massively dilute AMC.
Yes, I know.
Right? So AMC is going to drop. I'll be surprised if it's trading at $10 after the reverse split.
I highly doubt that. That's very speculative. If anything, there's probably a 1.8 times dilution factor. If the arbitrage gap closes, you'll see less dilution. But as of right now, with the 1.8 share factor and common math of 30-40%, you're looking at like $4. So, and that's AMC just went on a tear today.
He's adding 1 billion shares.
Yes,
AMC.
Amy, I get it. The price is very speculative, but when it reverse splits, even if it's at 30, if AMC hits $3, that's $30 a share. And the point is, Antara has shares at $6.60 now of AMC, who was formerly short or still could be short.
Hey Spence, can we get to some hands, Pedro, and then wall
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
wall? Pedro, go ahead. Then wall to wall will come. We'll come right back to you, man. Pedro, go ahead, please.
Hey, Mark, thanks for coming up. Some funny shit you said there. My take on this lawsuit, I said before on this call, was obviously, getting sued and all the other stuff, but I'd love to hear your opinion on, I personally think that I do not think that there's necessarily a cohesive board that is unanimous with everything Adam Aaron's been doing. I think he's been running a bit renegade. And I think the real value of this lawsuit is that the individuals that were named in the suit, and that we could, if he, pushed for the HYMC vote against some board members, saying, what the hell are you doing? But he really was on his own little mission to bail out his pal, or other actions that he's taken that were done on a more of a unilateral basis or with part of the board's support, what would you put any value in that in terms of this type of a lawsuit causing internal problems where you start to see real kind of division amongst the board?
I don't know. I think the board will stay together. The intriguing part of this lawsuit is to pull the entree at them, all these sideways guys, all these double dealing things. I mean, if I were suing him, or maybe you guys get a group together and go to the plaintiff, I think the things you want is, where did the HYMC deal come from? I think it came from that holder, Mudrick. Who vetted the Mudrick thing on the share issuance? Who vetted Antara? How did the Antara thing come about? When was APE decided? You know, the thing that he uses is that the T0 thing was probably illegal. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Someone should go after him and say, where's your legal opinion that was probably illegal? It wasn't illegal. But he created huge chaos, and he created a huge stir to induce people in this thing.
This isn't his first time doing this either. He got nailed by the SEC back in 2004 or 5. He pulled the same shit. Textbook. It's the same play. He did at Vail.
Oh, well, then that's where, again, I'm
this isn't his first
involved, but if I'm a plaintiff, that's where I try to go. I mean, I would go after him. And again, I tweeted this morning, it's that, whoever lost in AMC under the winners and the losers. The winners are Mudrick, the winners are Antara, the winners are the bond guys who are long bond, short stock in a massive way.
Hey guys, you're going to hear a little bit of a delay for just a minute as I switch back over to screen share.
And the losers. The winners are Mudrick, the winners are Antara, the winners are the bond guys who are long bond, short stock in a massive way. The winner's the board, the winner's Silver Lake, the winner's Adam Aaron. I mean, the winners are insiders and related to insiders. The losers are working class people who believe this grifter. I mean, and who were maybe induced by that YouTube crowd who didn't know shit. So, I mean, that to me is going to be the Harvard Business School case, is the sociology study, is the tragedy, is where I'm amazed he goes to all these movie theater appearances and people don't throw tomatoes and apples at him or eggs. I'm amazed people just civilly sit there and listen to this bullshit. I mean, I sure wouldn't. If I lost what people have lost in this thing, and this guy wants to come and see Bambi Goes Hawaiian or whatever stupid movies he plays, I'd be all over him. But, that's just me. So,
What was that movie called?
Bambi Goes Hawaiian. I don't, what fucking movies is he showing? What free movies is he showing? Avalon, Dirty Dozen, whatever goofy things. I mean, who'd waste their time listening to this guy or going to see this guy without throwing stuff at him? And again, that's not a threat. I don't need another Twitter vacation.
The details of the IMC deal are out there. I mean, I kind of chronicled it on you can go to my page and just search HYMC. You'll find it. I mean, the deal came from Mudrick. He called him. The deal happened over a 3-day weekend. They took a private jet out to Vegas or out to Nevada, and they made the deal, right? And Eric Sprott was already in it. He was an original creditor for Jason Black. He hadn't gotten paid anything on it, and it's all out there. You can find the details of it. It's not private.
But why would a movie guy whose company is in financial peril go and fund a 4th-tier gold mining or whatever mining outfit that's truly in peril? Why would you go to Adam Aaron and then lurking?
Because he had cash.
No,
Does he have
well,
cash?
Our cash reserves.
Lurking posted that he did it because he thought he could get the meme crowd involved. Someone
He
from
absolutely did. He said it on TV.
Exactly. Well, that's sort of akin to fraud. That's like saying,
Yes.
I can lure really stupid people into this investment, so come to me.
I mean, it was his strategy, right? Like he said, they said it was touted that he had this way of helping these distressed companies, and that way was that he had a strong retail following that would buy anything he told them to buy. He said it. He said it straight up on television.
But that is the definition of a cult.
I agree.
That is the definition of a snake oil salesman.
I agree.
That is the kind of stuff that does get you sued. I mean, that is the kind of stuff that's criminal.
I've been calling him on this for like 2 years. Like, yes, I know.
Well,
So what if some of the board members were against the Highcroft investment? What happens now? Like that's why I just think that there's a chance that there's going to be, if you think they're going to stay together, I think there's a chance that if he's pulling that crap that he pulled, that there's some board members who are going to stand up and say, "Look, I'm getting sued here, and I was not part of this."
The board members that they're looking at are listed in the suit. So I mean, it's Adam Aaron, it's Koch, it's let me see, Philip Lader.
They left 2 off. There's 2 that were.
But all these guys sold all their stock too, right?
Yes.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, Howard Koch, Kathleen Paulus, like they're all listed here.
So that's sort of asked and answered. They've all sold their stock.
Well, so there's some that have left.
They knew what he was. They all knew what he was doing. Again, the guy's weakness in my mind is Trey, Adam Aaron's son, the FTX guy, Mudrick. Mudrick, all these other guys, all these related parties, why they leaned on him, and what is it that Mudrick has on Adam Aaron?
I don't know if he has anything. He was the first one when they were literally on bankruptcy's doorstep. Mudrick came in and bought up $100 million worth of their debt, and they got cash to stay alive.
Yeah,
right? So Mudrick essentially saved them from bankruptcy.
But he sold the shit out of the stock short. He sold
calls. Yes.
Well, okay.
He was hedging his debt.
Exactly. So Mudrick would have made big if the thing went bankrupt, because he would have been on the top of the pecking order and made on the bonds, and he would have made selling his calls. Instead, the bonds didn't do shit, and he had a noose around his neck with the short calls. So
when the stock went up, yes.
Exactly. So Mudrick essentially is out of business, just like Melvin.
No, they're not, because he called in. He called Adam Aaron and got the shares to cover.
Exactly. But if he didn't do that, Mudrick would have been finished.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I don't know if they would have been finished, but they would have taken a hit.
If you sold calls on something that went from 2 to 30,
he sold $40 calls.
Okay, it doesn't much matter. If you sell $40 calls when the stock is 2 or 10 or 20 and the vols explode and the stock explodes, you're finished. That's just the way the math goes. So what is it that Mudrick had on it? If I was the CEO, I'd tell the guys to go fish. I don't need to sell it to you. I'll sell it to the world. Go fuck yourself. But he treats the short. See, the dirty secret is the shorts are all people who are related parties to insiders. That's the secret. And I think these guys they don't give a fuck on the borrow because they have options against it. If you're short calls, that's a synthetic short. You don't need to borrow those shares. If you're
Marc,
if you're short,
my question is right into that. Can I ask it real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we understand that the board, with the CEO and everybody else that's related, they have some type of iffy activities going on the side, especially with, I feel later, his daughter, the CEO of Uniswap, the same tokens that were used to short AMC illegally, he still keeps those people around him. That's one thing. Another thing, there are other CEOs of other companies like GNS that came out and say our companies is being illegally shorted. Here's proof. We have shown proof to this guy several times in several price actions. People like me, we bought at $5 all the way at 72. We could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars between today and the last 2 years. We lost out of money. We have proof of what he's been doing and his inability to act and say those things. I think we, as a shareholder base, we have more than enough grounds to remove him and the rest of the board from those seats. Do we have that power, or is the law on our side for us to take those actions? I know you, Mark, you've been in the market for a while, so I wanted to ask you. Thank you guys for listening to my questions. I'll be listening.
Theoretically, you do, but the problem is that you just don't have the votes now with Antara and the way he has this thing set up.
You will.
I mean, everyone has, the thing, but I think the way the votes line up, I don't think you can remove them. Where you can win, and again, you guys think I'm nuts. I think if as a unified voice, you go to Gasparino and say, here's where we've been screwed and this, that, and the other, Gasparino's not necessarily the enemy. You guys all may hate his guts, but he's not the enemy because he's out to get to the truth here. The trick is to force discovery through this suit that was filed, that they get into the dealings of all his sideways deals. That's where you could really get them. Because that's where the Justice Department and the SEC could say this is fascinating, why he treats one class of shareholders differently than another class. Because,
Well, I think
because that's not going to go away. That interview he had with Faber saying, he basically could use his stronghold over the meme people to raise money. Well, you're raising money from one class of investors that you're going to screw to benefit another class of investors, and how were those deals set up? And I think that's where it would really hurt. Exposing this stuff and people seeing this thing for what it truly is, that he screwed hardworking, innocent people. That's where it goes. And the thing is that no one likes to be called stupid. I mean, I don't mind being called stupid if I do something stupid. If you do, the people who he lured were people who didn't know better, not sophisticated with the market, and actually believe what this grifter said. And it's kind of like shame on you. Shame on me for investing in this piece of shit. I lost plenty of money on it. I should have known better, but I thought he was going to do the plan. And if he would have done the plan, the stock would have gone through the roof. But I mean, it's accountability. Everyone needs to be accountable for themselves. If you lost money, it's no one's fault except your own. But to hold this clown responsible. And the people who say, I'm with Adam, you're short. I've never been short of stock. I swear on my son's head. I've never been short a share of this piece of shit. I wish I was. I should have just shorted it, said, screw Joe Six-Pack. I'm going to absolutely rip their lungs out. I'll make many, many, many millions of dollars. And that's the way it is. But I wouldn't be able to live with myself, flat up. And I'll tell you this, when he does his reverse split, this thing is going to collapse. Because then it's just going to be a higher base where it falls apart. But I would you guys have a lot of assets. And again, I've never met Lurking, but Lurking hates this motherfucker. And he has all the stuff where if you put it together, there's a real cadence to the deception. And if you give the deception to the plaintiff lawyers, that's where this thing could make hay. You're not going to remove Adam Aaron through votes. You don't have enough votes, and no one's organized, and that's not going to happen. But where you can really get this guy is in a very tightly knit, organized way to get it to the plaintiff attorneys and say, hey, look here.
This is where we can get the guy. This is where you can get him. Or give wig mentions or Corn King, he always in his weird way comes at me, or he gets his crew to come at me. So he hates it. He hates all this shit. He hates being called out. And again, I'm amazed, or people maybe should go to his movie parties and really create a fucking stir.
I'm surprised to see that his T0 tweet did not make it in the lawsuit. I mean, if anything, he made official company business tweet on an unofficial Twitter account that directly affected the stock price. I mean, they went after Musk for an eighth of that. I just, the original 2019 or 2021 T0 tweet where he said it was likely illegal.
The complaint can also be amended. You know, it's, let's say if Lurking and you and Amy, you know, come for this guy, or go to those lawyers and say, why don't you include this, this, this? You know, you can amend the complaint many times. They can amend the complaint. I mean, I'd go after Mudrick. I'd go after Silver Lake. I'd go after Antara. I'd go after all these people. And I think I would try to make peace with Gasparino. I would make peace with him and let him give it to him to force Adam Aaron to ask questions. I mean, Gasparino asked me to be on, and I said, I'll be on, you know, you name the time, spot. And Adam Aaron was too chicken to go on with me. He wanted nothing to do with any question. Nothing. So he's not only full of shit and a grifter, he's also a coward. I mean, let him go on against PJ. Let him go on against Spence. Let him go on against Sugar. Let him go on against Lurking. Let him go on against anybody. JB. That's the problem. He can't hold up against any form of criticism, constructive or otherwise. He has no answers. I mean, does he tweet any more about Highcroft? Does he tweet any more about Wen Pounce or, you know, Crow? What? He's silent.
He's got a new one. I Ride on You.
Yeah.
You heard that one?
No.
That's the new lollipop he's giving everybody.
But it's despicable what this guy's done. It's just despicable. And all these guys sold all their stock. And his line that I warned you that I would sell stock, right, is not an out. And it's not an out. And just because you disclose something also doesn't make it legal.
Big fan, by the way. Thanks for joining this chat. Just curious, there's a whole history with Adam. Let's say we get him out, which is the better thing for the company. Just in terms of getting the company on the right footing, and to Sugar's point of we're here to make money. You know, if we're here to make money, doesn't it make sense to be then, lower in the capital structure, in the first lien debt? And don't you want to see the company, whether it's through conversion, whether it's through whatever, raise capital? Like, what would you, if you were CEO now, what would you do, if you were in that position? And if you were trying to make money on the situation, and you were bullish on the movie theater industry, let's say, or you're not as bearish as the most, bearish, people have a view on it, wouldn't you want to be involved on the debt?
Well, the problem is the ship has kind of sailed, right? There is going to be no short squeeze ever here because he's just diluted the fuck out of everybody. So that's not going to happen. Then when he did his APE deal, the first trade on APE was 1050, right? 1050. The guy goes and sells it to his pals in size at 56 cents. Now, Spencer and I like each other, and Spencer and I have great respect for each other, right? Truly. But like brothers, we can fight. We don't always have to agree, right? You can say, I don't like this, that, or the other. We don't have to agree. But when I said Adam Aaron is going to dilute the living fuck out of you, right? And Spencer and I bet a keg of beer. Not in Spencer's wildest imagination did he think Adam Aaron would sell 200 and some odd million shares of APE at 56 cents, right? Not a fucking chance.
Nope.
Right?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. And it's kind of like, what kind of idiot are you, Adam? You didn't do this deal. You didn't sell them stock at 9 or 8 or 7 or 6 or 5 or even 2, right? You didn't sell 2. You sold it at 56 fucking cents, right? You sold it down 95% from where this thing came. And you have the audacity to go anywhere and tell people it's up 4 times from the bottom? Well, you dumb fuck are the guy who created the bottom. You're the guy who sold it down there, you dumb shit. And you only raised $100 million. So he has so fucked up the capital structure that this thing is almost beyond unfixable and is, by definition, a zombie. It's just a zombie. If he would have done the T0 plan, maybe the T0 plan wouldn't have worked, but at least it was a plan. At least you're doing business with a company that the New York Stock Exchange owns 20% of, and you could have said, let's see how it all goes. Anything is better than diluting it down 95%. Who the fuck would, right? If your house is worth $1 million, right? That's what it's worth. Would you sell it at $56,000? Hey, I want to buy your house. Okay, $1 million. Nah. 3 months later, you sell it for 56 grand? Really? That's essentially 1050 of APE going to 56 cents and selling 200 plus million shares to some outfit called Antara is doing. And no one even heard of fucking Antara. I mean, did he call anyone on this call and offer him APE at 56 cents? And then the next day after you do it, say we're going to put APE and AMC together? Of course the thing's going to fly.
I mean, it was trading at 66 cents on the open market. Anybody could have gone and bought it on the open market if you liked that price. Maybe they got a couple cents cheaper. You know what?
But then after they bought it at 56 cents, the announcement came that he's going to put APE and AMC together.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's a bit of news. Well, anyone could have bought it at 1050, 950, 850, 650, 450, 250. Instead, Adam Aaron sells it at 56 cents. That is the stupidity of this guy.
Could have got a gumball for that. Well, no, gumballs are 75 cents now.
I hear you. But it sounds like you think the vote's going to go through, given the way they structured it. It sounds like you think it's going to go through. You know, it's going to. You think it's going to cause dilution, but it's going to cause dilution because they're going to raise capital. So wouldn't you want to? If the first lien bonds are trading at 60 cents, why don't you buy the bonds?
You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, I just find the capital structure beyond uninteresting for a CEO and chairman who does favor deals with his friends. By design, not being his friend means you're in the back of the bus. Everyone is in the very, very, very back of the bus, and the money has paid to be in the first 2 rows here. And who's in the first 2 rows? The insiders, Silver Lake, Antara, Mudrick, and anyone he bails out.
We're not in the back of the bus. We're literally getting thrown under the bus. I mean, do you not remember him saying your idea was likely illegal and I was a part of it? I mean, he basically slandered both of us, claiming that we were coming with some illegal, nefarious idea, when in reality, what he's been doing all along is completely illegal. And the level of gaslighting that he's gone to, it's ridiculous. And people keep asking me, why are you quiet? Why in the world would I want to talk about a company or bring eyes to a stock where the CEO just continues to do this and pay out his buddies, like his banker buddies? Why in the world would I want to see, the poor man get robbed, myself get robbed to pay banks? Like, that's not what I signed up for. I don't know about everyone else here, but that's not what I signed up for.
I think the great thing would be, since you have more followers than everyone on this call put together times 6, is you get a hold of Musk
and you say, no one should be giving you shit, Elon, for anything you do with this clown Adam Aaron going around. Why don't you take a shot at Adam Aaron? Because Adam Aaron's the biggest fucking grifter going. And if everyone wants to give you a hard time, Elon, that's well and good. But they should look at Adam Aaron and his dealings before they look at you. I mean,
I'll put it this way. Elon probably knows more than people realize that he does.
Well, if Elon, if I was Elon, and I'm not, the only thing I know about Elon is him and I share a lawyer, is I would say, I don't know why everyone's giving me such a hard time when you have the likes of Adam Aaron floating around. And look what this guy's done versus what I've done. Yeah, I've made mistakes, but I've at least been through a court of law and been found innocent. This fucking grifter keeps on going. I mean, Elon doesn't do end around deals with his buddies versus the public. I mean, no one pulls this shit. And it's just a matter of, since Adam Aaron wants to play the Twitter game, I mean, to me, you go to the guy who owns fucking Twitter and said the biggest grifter of them all is using your platform to grift everybody. And I say something sideways and I get put in jail for a few days. I mean, the trick would be, is if Elon ever starts looking cross-eyed at Adam Aaron, I would be on the ground. It would just be rich. It would just be something.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would indeed.
So
I've been waiting a good 5 or 10 minutes to ask this question. Can I ask it, please?
Go ahead.
Nope.
You're an adult.
Nope. I'm not putting up with any more interruptive. That's so annoying. There's people in the call that are talking big money.
I think you dropped the wrong person. That was
Dave.
Dave. Yeah. Did you drop? Oh, never mind. Did you drop Dave?
Yeah. It's just annoying. You put your hand up and you say, can I please ask my question? You don't say, I've been waiting for 5 minutes in a space call with a full speaker.
I have been waiting, and it's a legit question. Kush knows this is going to be legit. I've got it.
Then be polite when you want to come
I've
up
been
and
waiting
ask
for
it
10 minutes, my friend.
Why have you been waiting?
So now you're waiting. Now you're not waiting at all.
Let him ask question.
Nope. No, I'm not. He's gone.
Okay, it's your call, man. It's your
It is
call.
my call. Man, I've been so frustrated with people being interrupted today. It's just insane.
They do that on purpose when I come into this space, Sugar. It's a low-key flex on me because they don't like me on a personal level because their Lord and Savior, Adam Aaron, is the only hero, and I'm the only one who's had any balls enough to stand up and say, this isn't sitting right, like this doesn't feel right. Can we take a look at this? And that's why I've been completely slandered and treated like garbage here. That's his way of doing that. So because I came to the space and started talking, now he wants to point out that he's been waiting 5 minutes. So he didn't say it before. And Mark and I'm sorry, but we have a lot to say. And if people can't handle it, then they should go start their own space. Go deal with it. Like, don't be a crybaby in here. No one needs to deal with a crybaby.
We will not let anybody come, Tara. And I'm sorry that people
That's
were
not what I'm
interrupting.
saying. Don't let anybody come.
No,
that's
no,
not
we are
what I'm
not
saying. I never said those
Okay.
words. I'm saying when someone takes the opportunity to finally get to speak and then they say, I've been waiting 5 minutes. Well, just speak. No one was even talking.
Yeah.
He could have just
All
said
they
what
had
he
to
needed to
do
say.
would say, hey, Spence, I've been waiting. Can I go ahead and speak, please? I'd be like, yeah, sure, brother. Go ahead, man. So if you want to come up and speak, put your hand up and be polite and respect that there's speakers up in the speaker role that have a lot to say with in-depth knowledge about what they're saying. So just try to keep that in mind, please.
Yeah, we've been drugged here big time, and Adam Aaron is the culprit. I mean, Mark and our names have been completely just drugged through the mud. So yeah, obviously we're gonna have some shit to say when there's a lawsuit coming out against the same people who did this to us.
Fuck all you fucking Shills.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's why I said we will not let anybody.
That's why
I wonder
Adam
if
Aaron
these
is
people.
pushing
I wonder if these
retail.
people have realized what a shill actually is, because Adam Aaron is the definition of a shill. Buy my ape shares. Buy my ape shares. That's a shill. You've literally been shilled by your own CEO.
Tara, you remember when Marc came along and we used to do the calls and the stock was at $43 and there were short sellers literally would come in our call and they used to say if Adam even says that I'm thinking about T0, they will cover their shorts and they will go long on AMC. Do you remember that? And the stock was at $43 that time. And these people were going after all of you and all of us. They're calling us that we want this company to be bankrupt, and the company which we are heavily invested in, we want to make money. That's just crazy.
December 19th,
The
Adam
real
Aaron. Go ahead.
Sorry, Spence. I was just gonna say the real shill is telling you to buy up APE shares at $5 and you're holding while he's selling to a bank at 50 cents. That's the real shill. So just for everyone listening, I'm not a shill. I have nothing to sell you. I don't care. Yeah, I'm holding. I still have AMC and APE. As soon as they're green, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I don't care if they're up $1. I'm out of these plays. I want nothing to do with it at all. And, you know, as far as a squeeze goes, oh, but don't you believe there's still a chance for a squeeze? I don't know. With the level of corruption and dilution and everything that Adam has done to stop that every time it's happened, I don't know. I don't know anymore. And people don't want to hear it, unfollow me. I don't care. Like, I'm not here to paint a pretty picture for you. I'm here to be honest. And that's what I've been from the beginning. When the buy button got taken away, I came to Twitter to talk about it because I was pissed, not because I wanted to hand over money to a CEO of a company and his kids. Like, no, that's not what I came here for.
Yeah, and the stock dumped December 19th. Adam Aaron tweeted a 1-to-1 security token like item. You can go to his tweet and read it, is likely illegal. And the stock dumped after that because he basically gave the opening flag to start the race for short sellers to come and attack the stock. And people go, well, you're speculative. How do you know T0 would have worked? Well, if you ever looked at a little company called Overstock, they went from like $2 to over 150 in a matter of a year. That's
It wasn't
because of
T0. It wasn't even necessarily T0. Marc said this 100 times. Do an STO with anyone. It didn't even have to be T0.
Right. And isn't Roger Hamilton getting ready to do something of the kind?
Yeah, and his stock went from 50 cents to, where is it, $5? I mean, I don't know. Imagine if Adam, you know, even entertained the idea of an STO when we were at 40, when we were at 45. Where would the stock be right now? 10 times, 10x, 400 a share. I don't know. That's what GNS did.
The trick is, this is all the kind of stuff that needs to come up in discovery in that lawsuit. This is the kind of stuff where people need to get his emails and his conversations and other people's emails of how this all went down. That's where it starts getting fascinating. That's what can really get them. That's what can really get them here. And again, you know, I know Lurking for sure has the chronology and timeline of all his bullshit, and I think that would hit him hard. That and Elon calling him out, I think, would really do it. And it's smart for Elon because everyone gives him shit over every single thing he does or says. Why not make Adam Aaron the focus? And then
I would like to know how many accounts are actually paid to be here and support Adam Aaron. That's what I hope really comes out in the lawsuit, is all of these fake accounts who don't use their real names, they don't use their real profile pictures, who have been here just to force votes to get Adam voted in as not just CEO, but also chairman when he was on his way out the door, because his previous shareholders were extremely angry when he drove the stock down from 20 to $5 or 20 to $2. Excuse me. And this was prior to the buy button getting taken away. You know, he loves to tout how great the company was doing. He was literally driving the company to bankruptcy prior to all of us coming along. And then he grifted off of all of us by going on Trey's YouTube channel and basically ingratiating himself into this movement that we had built. He wasn't a part of. He ingratiated himself by doing that and secured the votes. And accounts that came here were just here to push the votes to get Adam the power, and that was it. So I would like to know what is their title, who hired them to come to Twitter. People want to talk about me being this paid shill. I don't get paid by anyone. I'm here on my own accord, but I do believe there are accounts that are paid to be here, and they are getting pushed forward by Adam Aaron.
The trick would be, is anyone close to Trey? Does anyone even know where Trey is? I mean, is he on the moon?
I do.
Well,
oh, he's in the best shape of his life. All of his illnesses that got him med boarded out of the military are magically gone. Go figure. I mean, I know Al probably knows all about med boards.
Let me tell you, I'm a firm believer that after he made whatever money from Adam Aaron, he lied to the U.S. Army and said he was like fucked up and I got these problems and blah, blah, blah. The Army med-septed him, gave him a pension, compensation pension, and now he lives on Boca Raton somewhere, fucking off, blowing dudes. I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, this guy is an absolute malingerer. There's nothing wrong with him. He lied because he took money from fucking CEO Adam, and that was our money. He made money on the downturn, and he made money every corner, and then he fucked off, is what he did. And he lied to the U.S. Army, which I find, I can deal with the money part. I can deal with the Adam Aaron part. But anybody that escapes duty, right, their duty, as especially an officer, let me tell you something. They are lucky that I am not in charge, because that guy would have gone right to the brig. I would have tossed that guy in the brig, and that would have been the end of that.
I had a feeling that was the situation for a while too, and I talked about it quite a bit. And I don't wish.
So you saw it too, then, right?
Dude, I mean, Al, we've seen it 100 times as leaders in the military.
Do you guys remember how Adam Aaron said he got brought into the?
You're breaking up,
being brought into or in YouTube. You guys remember?
What did you say, T-Dog?
His son, right? It was his son.
Yeah, we can hear you, but I didn't hear the question.
How Adam Aaron got involved is his sons brought him up and showed him. So it all started with Trey and Adam Aaron.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was saying, remember when Adam Aaron first came on with Trey? Adam Aaron found out about YouTube and Reddit and all that through Trey, through his sons. His son said, "Hey, you guys got to meet this Trey guy." That's how he got on YouTube. So I mean, it all starts back all the way back then, which is scary. Because I think his kids, I would love in Discovery to find out what his kids did with those shares.
They sold them.
Jeremy Aaron is a trader. He works at was it Bain or whoever it was. There was somebody did DB on this guy. He's got an extensive history. I'd like to find out what his trades were with the firm he was working at, and I'd like to see the firms.
They all sold around 45. Their whole family sold all their shares around 45.
I'm talking about the funds that they work for.
Right. I don't know if Jeremy works for a fund. Yeah, I don't know if he works for a fund, but I know he does trading.
That's where I think the Mudrick thing is. Mudrick's based out of Chicago, right? The Aaron family lived in Chicago. I'm concerned that Jeremy Aaron is part and parcel of this because he met Mudrick, introduced him to his father, something like that happened, some kind of synergy there, and this whole thing they cooked up a plan. They cooked up a long-term plan, and they executed on it. And I fervently believe that Jeremy Aaron, who whatever fund he works at, I think it was a right, but they still do trades elsewhere, is part and parcel of this. And I'm willing to bet my last nickel that they were all cooking up some kind of
honestly, I don't know why I was drinking anxiety over.
But it just seems very convenient that Jason Mudrick is in Chicago, Jeremy Aaron is in Chicago, David Aaron is in Chicago, Abby Khan Aaron, his wife, is also in Chicago. It's not too far of a stretch for me.
Citadel used to be in Chicago. I don't know. Chicago's a big place, I guess. But yeah, I don't know the background there, but I do know that they sold their shares and they made top dollar. So while we were all diamond handing because, I don't even know. We believe in the CEO. How's that working out for you? Like, I'm so sorry, but I guess I know a rat when I see one.
The only reason I invested in AMC was because Tara told me to on Twitter.
Jesus Christ. And how many people? Do you know the guilt? Like, I still don't sleep at night. I mean, the idea that this could just end up being driven to, I don't know, like
it's not
sued into bankruptcy. I don't know what could happen. And the idea that I even got one person to invest their hard-earned money into this company to get just completely screwed over by the CEO. It honestly makes me want to throw up. It makes me sick.
That was obviously a joke, but Tara brought a plan to the table with Marc that was legitimate, and that's why I stuck around. As soon as Adam Aaron tweeted that on December 19th about the T0 thing, I immediately texted Tara, I texted Marc, and I said, what the fuck? I was so mad that he tweeted that because it literally just he opened the floodgates for short sellers to come in and attack the stock. And ever since then, that's all it was. And everybody cheered that T0
The hate
didn't
was
work.
insane. Sorry, but I have to throw that in there. The hatefulness in this so-called community is just, I mean, it's disgusting. It's like nothing I've ever seen in my life. Like full-on racist comments to Sugar. I remember when Jay Brown was getting racist comments to him. Like I've seen some of the ugliest of ugly. And I guess when people have money involved, that's when you see that side of them. I don't know, but I don't condone it and I'm not cool with it. The way I've been treated, the way I've seen others treated, it's not cool. It's not okay. I don't want to be a penny that comes from that kind of vitriol, that kind of disgusting behavior. No one deserves to be treated that way, whether it's online or in real life. I wouldn't subject myself to it, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to ever.
You guys ready for this? David Aaron works at Bain Capital. He's worked at Goldman Sachs. He's from Chicago. And this is the weirdest thing of all. He lives literally in Boston, Mass.
Don't get in trouble.
He lives literally 8 minutes from my house. And I might just go over there. He lives on this is where weirdness happens. He lives on the same street in the same town as Caroline Ellison, the chief operations officer at, the CEO of FTD's hedge fund. Is that a coincidence? I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
You're going to end up like James O'Keefe, bro.
I'm going to get smoke checked. I got a Sappy plate I got another Sappy plate I put in. So if I leave the house, I always carry it. So fuck them.
Man, you know what, PJ? I'm sorry, darling. Why don't you go ahead? I'm trying to process PJ. Everything we just said.
Hi, guys. I'm going to be really quick because I know Team DRS has a question. I just want to tell you guys that it feels so good to see the gang back together in one call. It feels really good to know that it's a year later, we're all a year wiser, and we were right the entire time. Marc was right. Everybody was right. So now it is our duty as human beings and shareholders to move on this. And we just have to get together and figure out how we're going to do this because we can. I have no doubt. This man is dirty. As Pedro says, he's the dirty bird, and he needs his ass handed to him. I personally am going to call one of those attorneys and explain to them, in case they are missing it, which I don't think they are, but Adam Aaron's Svengali-like attitude towards the apes. He did nothing but groom these people. And that to me is the most offensive thing someone can do to someone. It's truly disgusting. And I'm hoping that we can all put our brain.
Yeah, PJ, I agree. I mean, I lost pretty close friends over this because how can you be flying banners and accepting money and GoFundMes for this man and then knowing he's doing these things repeatedly to people that you are getting to invest in a stock? Like, how can you live with yourself and know that you're doing this unless you're somehow paid to do it? I don't understand. Like, is it your job? Are you just that indoctrinated and that groomed that you think that it's okay? Do you truly believe that he's got your best? I don't understand how anyone at this point can believe that he has their best interest in mind when he's done this on repeat. It's not like a one-time offense. It's like every single time that there's been an opportunity to snake all of us, he's done it. He's lunged at the opportunity. I hit the wrong button.
Sorry.
Just,
And you know,
just,
the most vulnerable people are the most apt to, you know, be involved in a cult. So when I look at these people and I see their level of, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it without sounding like a jerk, but when I look at these folks and they're so engaged in Adam Aaron and they're glorifying a CEO. I've never seen a CEO, of course, aside from Elon, but be glorified before. I mean, it truly is a very sick and twisted plan on Adam Aaron's part. And I absolutely feel as if he began to do it from the time he said, obviously, that, oh, I'm going to listen to my shareholders and we're not going to vote. We're not going to dilute until until 2022, when he had already known about APE. And then, you know, he started upping his Twitter account, grooming people, following, sharing Sal the Meme Lord. I mean, the whole thing was just sick. And when I look back at it, I see that these folks are some of the most vulnerable people we'll probably ever come across. And emotionally vulnerable is what I'm talking about. And it's so sad to me. It really is.
well, the good news is if everyone gets together, there's a chance that this could really move the needle. You know, get a hold of the people who are suing them to show them where to dig and to do proper discovery. And Tara, you don't need many friends. As long as you have Sugar, Spence, PJ, and myself, that's all you need. So people want to hate.
Not many. It's just real quality over quantity, in my opinion. And these are the quality people who see through the BS. And I'm sorry, but I can't be around people who just want to see things, you know, the way they want to see them, because they're collecting money, because of whatever reason. They have to just keep feeding into this negative feedback loop. Like I can't deal with people like that. I'm sorry.
You don't judge someone by their friends, but by the quality of their enemies.
The AMC subreddit's down.
So,
well, I have some CEOs who are my enemies. So, and I'm not scared. I don't care. Like, be my enemy. I wouldn't wish it on you. It's not going to end well. And Mark, I know that that's the case with you. So I think making enemies here was probably one of the biggest errors in this entire, charade, I guess you could call it. I mean, we thought what Adam Aaron was doing was like a victory lap, but in reality, what he was doing was a campaign trail. Like, when you look back, Mark, and him going to these theaters and shaking hands with folks, that was a campaign. That was all part of his campaign to secure the votes to stay in. I thought, wow, this guy's going to finally retire. We're going to have some fresh, you know, eyes on the stock, and maybe someone who's willing to actually put their neck on the line, like Roger Hamilton with GNS, someone who would actually step up for their shareholders and not dilute at every chance that they get. Nope, he was campaigning for votes. He's not going anywhere. It wasn't a, I don't know. It wasn't a victory lap. It was a campaign trail. It's crazy when I'm looking at it now.
Totally agree. It was a campaign. And you know, something stupid, but what struck me as really odd is how they dropped the ball so bad on Avatar, the biggest movie of the year, earning over $2 billion. And they had a Dollar General blue plastic bowl full of popcorn that they were selling to people in a glitter cup. I was like, they got these from the Dollar Tree, man. This is terrible. So no pun intended. They
completely botched that movie. Yeah. They could have made $1 billion on tchotchkes alone, but they blew it.
I could have farted in a jar and it would have been a better idea than the freaking blue plastic toilet bowl cleaner popcorn bowl. But.
Speaking of that, no, I'm just kidding.
Tara, you see, that's where your Shill reputation comes from. Everybody steals my good business ideas, and then suddenly it's online. And
should we let TBDRS? Oh, sorry.
I just have to check out. I'm working. I got to spend blank hours a day working on putting the CEO of Silvergate to prison. So I got to go make a couple calls.
Good luck with that.
You'll see.
Hey,
wouldn't.
Mark, can I just say thank you for coming back around? And I apologize in front of everyone here and on record just for everything, you know, that you've been right about. You were told you were wrong by not just me, but many people. Obviously, I never, you know, got into the attacking you because I appreciate you and I value you, especially your experience that you bring to the table. But I appreciate especially that you've come back around just to share, you know, any information that you have with all of us, because so many people are desperate that are trapped in this thing, and it really is appreciated.
You're sweet. It means a lot. We're kind of like brothers and sisters. Spence and I fight. You and I fight. I think you've had me blocked 14 times. I've had you blocked 10 times. Right? I mean, it's just one of those racing deals. But we all have a mutual respect and friendship for each other. Though no one's ever met. Though no one's paid anyone a dime. Though the whole thing, which is hilarious, and I've never been short of share. But you guys deserve a lot of credit for fighting. Yeah, that's a charity. I never paid Spence directly. I donated directly to St. Jude. So
and Cat Striker.
No, the hell with her.
Mark, I saved 2 stickers from Cat Striker for you. They're in an envelope, and they'll come with your keg IOU of natural light.
Yeah,
your natural light keg's on the way.
Yep, we'll all get together one of these days when the Silvergate CEO is indicted. So that will happen. Anyway, take care, everybody, and well done, Benson. Well done putting this together. Bye.
Mark. Did Mark leave?
I think so.
No.
I think Team DRS was next, but I wasn't fully paying attention. Then Captain.
Yeah, go ahead, team.
Yeah, hey guys. So I just wanted to sucks that Mark just left because I wanted to continue the conversation and the idea of what he was saying about the lawsuit. As everyone knows, I'm probably the biggest bag holder in this play, and I wanted to join this lawsuit. And I was hoping that we can get somebody with a big following who can kind of organize this, or like at least be the leader for it. I mean, I'm nobody on Twitter and I don't really care to be anybody. I'm not trying to build my followers or whatever, but we need somebody who knows what they're doing. And he mentioned Lurking does. And I don't know if there's somebody who wants to spearhead this and maybe get a group of people to join that lawsuit off Twitter, like through email or phone number or Zoom. So just a thought, but I'm really looking for some action, and I was hoping somebody could help out.
Daily Blend, who was here, also has been putting a lot of effort in there and knows he's I've sort of helped him find connections with the other people who are trying to, you know, accomplish any sort of goal at holding people accountable who have screwed over everybody. So him, Lurking, and Mark, and I just followed you. So if you need to DM me, they should come through, and I can try to get you in touch with people.
Daly was up here a minute ago. If he dropped down, if he's in the listeners, I can't see him if he wants to come back up. But
I think he's scared of me. I'm just kidding.
Scared of you?
I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, we need like actual like bullet points of things that are, you know, court worthy or case worthy, where we have a case. And I think Mark was saying that Lurking has that, and I guess Daily does as well. So
I really think his December 19th tweet about T0, they went after Musk for tweeting 420. Adam Aaron literally tweeted something that was official company business on an unofficial account without filing any forms with the company. That led from the stock to go from 34 down to 5. I really think that tweet, considering that the SEC just went after Musk, is exactly what people should be going after. That opens them up to investigation and discovery. But I mean, we've got 15 days till this March 14th deadline. So I'm sure, like I said, I think Al's going to follow this like crackhead, you know, crackhead looking for Parmesan cheese in the carpet. So I'm hoping Al will be the first one to pop up and get, hey, we found something here. Bing, bing, bang. Him and Marine and Ethan for sure. So I'm going to be watching them close.
You know what's a really nice breath of fresh air is when you start getting messages like this one from Froggy Styles, and he says, you know, I love you as a friend. You have been honest and one hell of a fighter. I appreciate all you have done, and I have a ton of respect for you. Thank you for all that you have done. And I feel the exact same way about all of you guys, because the amount of hate that we've gotten just for being honest, it's pretty sick. And I get that people have money on the line and they think, you know, what we say can actually affect their wallet, but it's not. That's not what's affecting them. It's the actions that the board, you know, has taken. They don't buy shares, they sell everything. I mean, and then they sell off to banks. So you have to really start pointing the fingers in the right direction, guys, if you want anything to happen and anything to come from this. And it doesn't mean you have to go be hateful and disgusting, but start looking in the mirror and saying, okay, what is really going on? Tara stepped away, you know, Trey, all of these people stepped away. We're still here fighting for a cause. Yeah, the cause, it was a beautiful cause until it got hijacked by a CEO who wanted to pay himself out. So you need to start looking at the right people and going, okay, what is wrong with this picture? What is actually the cause of the problem? Because it's not us. I promise you that. It's not the people who have sat here and fought tooth and nail to make anything happen and get the CEO's attention on the issues with the stock that we all have agreed on from the beginning, which is that it was heavily shorted during a time when it shouldn't have been. The doors were forced closed. Shorting should have been illegal during that time. In other countries, it would have been. They were trying to bankrupt these companies and benefit on that end of it. And now, in hindsight, I wonder if it was also the board. So just please start looking in the right direction and stop pointing fingers at each other, at other retail investors who have zero control over the situation, and unless there's, you know, this class action lawsuit. That's about it. So please look at the right people.
Spence, Tara?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've got a creative guy that's going to be creating a vote no profile pic, and we're going to try to get that out. If it's okay with you guys, could you guys, when we do release this, vote no, in case it comes down to it? We want to make sure at least we have a fighting chance later on in court. If you guys could adopt this vote no profile pic until the end of this whole thing, just until, you know, the tally is up and stuff, and you guys can change it back. I've got a creative guy working on it.
I would, but since I've got a Twitter Blue account and I've been reported twice, suspended twice, my account is in this consistent period of you're being verified, which I'm trying to get Tara to hit up her boyfriend and let him know that it's not working for me, but she keeps not doing it. So
yeah, I can't change my profile picture either. Anyone with a blue check will have issues with that, but you can add stuff to your bio without it affecting that. So
be it.
Also tweeting and hashtagging. Maybe you need a plain banner. Maybe you need to fly a banner.
I can change my banner background though. That'll work. But before I forget this joke, I got to tell you, Tara, I love you as a friend too. So I just want to know that I want you to know that you got put in the frog zone by 2 different dudes today. You've been frog zoned.
I know. It's a froggy sandwich. I don't even know what to think. I can't even where's my frog print? Just like, I love you guys, honestly, and I appreciate
it. We're more like Battletoads.
Where's my Cybertruck? You promised us a Cybertruck.
Bro, I was going to buy everyone a Tesla. Like, this is all going to go insane. Remember when Lambo, what happened to those days, the good old days, the parties in Vegas? We're all going to be panhandling in Vegas, and I don't even know what, begging for Teslas. Man, if anyone can hit up Elon Musk and let him know, you know, I'm still waiting for my Tesla, that'd be great. Thanks.
I'll tell you, Tara, me, T-Dog, and Froggy, and Pedro, and a couple other people, Sugar, BJ, we've all been in here, Elo too. We've been telling people from day one that arbitrage was going to be the play. And from 66 cents up to $3, a lot of people in our group recovered their money. So
I have to say one thing.
I'll see you guys later.
Later,
Diane,
Al.
wait, you should listen to this, Al, because you're part of this.
Okay.
So I looked out at all these faces that I know now for almost 2 years. And I see really, truly, I see amazing human beings. And thank you, all of you, for what you do. I know you all work very hard.
Yeah, PJ. Honestly, that's been the hardest thing, is to turn my back on people who I love and respect and were always good to me, and make them feel like I'm just ditching when I'm not. I just had to do it for my reasons. I had to step away from this entire thing because I could not live with myself funneling money into the pockets of just big fat CEOs. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I cannot live with that. That's not what I came here for. That's not the fight. And fighting each other is pointless. We're all retail investors. We're all at the bottom of the totem pole, in case you haven't figured it out. Captain, I know you really wanted to say something too, so I think you should.
Real quick, Al, don't end up like James O'Keefe, bro. Okay, if you go down and confront, dude, we need you around.
Like I said, I wear a suppy plate. I got one on both ends. Not like Iraq. I've got two of them this time. And listen, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I'll bite it. But, you know, it is what it is.
Al, I have a question for you directly, because I've been watching your videos about halfway through with the Allegheny County one that you just posted. But what I want to know is can that stop the APE, the reverse split? Can it be, with it being filed, can it be addressed now? Or is this going to go through, next month, and there's nothing we can do, or nothing's going to happen, no injunction or anything that could stop this?
So that isn't actually detailed in the document. I read through it this morning, and I didn't see anything about that. I think the emergency injunction part is to withdraw and try to reverse everything. I think that's what they're trying to do. What's going to happen is, if that happens, there isn't going to be a March. There's not going to be any of the things that Adam Aaron's spoken about, a March draft or a vote. None of that stuff. We're going to have earnings, and it'll just continue on doing what it does. Like I said, though, but if it happens and they're starting to reverse things and things are good, God willing, this whole nightmare of a play can be fixed with APE, and we can go back to a decent price. But even if it does, let's say they're able to stop it, and APE stays where it is, AMC stays where it is, and so on and so forth, you'll still make money on APE, because when AMC does run, APE will run next to it in parity. I don't know what the problem is with that. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but the day this thing does run, you're going to make money on both AMC and APE. I think we start to, kind of defaulting back to that original situation, that original idea of both of them running in parity, and everybody makes money that way. But to answer your question, in the filing, I didn't see that. I really didn't see anything described like that. But if there is additional filings, we're going to get on top of it. And Ethan and I, we're going to be working together, and along with Daly and anybody else who's kind of looking through this whole thing. But that's all I really have. I don't have anything else more meaningful to add, Captain.
Well, another point, because at the end of it, I've seen that the lawyers were listed there, and I know with your extensive background plus your connections, would you be able to work? Because your past, you said you had done other.
So I know what you're going to ask me. I already did it this morning. I already found out who these people were. I already sent the emails out. I sent a PDF document with everything on there. I'm usually like, I knew eventually one of you guys was going to suggest that, because I have 2 years worth of evidence I've accumulated. It's already been sent out. The attorneys have it. It's what they're going to do with it is here on out. And I haven't gotten a phone call or a reply email, so it probably hasn't been looked at. But what's done is done.
Hey guys, as predicted, Matt Levine published his column today, and it's about the lawsuit in the AMC APE conversion. So I recommend you guys check it out. You can find him on Twitter. His name is Matt Levine, and his most recent tweet will be the article. So I'm reading through it now, but you'll get a good rundown of the situation. What's his at? What's his at? Yeah, his at is at Matt_Levine. It's MATT_LEVINE. And you know, it reminded me actually. I recommend everyone reading it just to get smart in it. He's one of the savviest financial journalists, at least covering things that are a little bit more complicated from a financial or legal perspective. But one thing that I was reminded of, and just reading it through it now quickly, I haven't finished it, is that part of the reason that AMC, did this was their charter, in order to authorize more shares, requires not just a majority of, shareholders voting to approve it. It requires a majority of the shares outstanding. So typically many shareholder votes, it's enough if you have a majority of just the shares that happen to be voting, at the vote, who bother to, care enough about their position, to actually, take the time to vote. They don't bother to vote. Maybe they don't own enough to pay attention, or they're busy. They don't get the email, whatever the reason. Retail shareholder voting tends to have low turnout. And that was a big issue for AMC being able to authorize more AMC common stock to take advantage of the higher prices to issue shares and reduce debt. So a large reason this was structured, and a big part of the depository trust, aspect of the APEs, was the understanding that many shareholders simply don't vote. And in order to authorize more shares, they need a majority of shares outstanding, not just shares that have voted. So just something to keep in mind in this. And I think someone posted the Matt Levine column. I recommend everyone reading it to get smart on it. Yeah, I pinned it up at the top. Do you want to, can you kind of give us a rundown on what the article says? Does he mention the lawsuit? Yeah, he's talking about it. I emailed him, when the lawsuit came out, because I know he's been covering this, and I know he's the one, journalist who would be able to do a situation like this justice, and has the background to really write about it. I haven't finished reading it, so I'm going through it now. I'm happy to share I'm happy to share a summary once I'm done. But I can't vouch, whether what he says will, I'm sure it'll make some people happy. It'll make some people upset. He tends not. I think everyone here should invite him to this space. Like, go post this space on his thread and tell him to come in here and have a conversation with us about the article. I think that would be really cool. I think that'd be a great idea. Yep. I would recommend, tweet under his under the tweet that you posted. Maybe he'll hop in.
If you hit the little button in the bottom right corner, if you're on your cell phone, the little comment bubble, it'll take you to the posted tweet for the space. And then hit the up arrow with the underscore bar and hit copy link, and then go to the posted link in the nest, and you can post the space under the call and invite them to it. Hopefully everybody got that.
Yeah. I think it would be cool if he came in and talk to us about the article. We've had plenty of journalists come in and join us and talk openly. So, I mean, it wouldn't be rare. It would be cool though, especially when this is all happening real time and people just have a lot of questions. And honestly, so many of us have just lost so much trust. Like, we don't know who to trust, who to believe, and most of us don't trust the media at all. But it would be interesting to hear what his take is firsthand.
Absolutely, because how the street responds to this with the MSM and everything we see online is going to make a big deal on the effect of the stock. And like I said, the big thing is the action that's going to come on the back of this lawsuit and how quickly it comes. I personally don't see anything happening before the vote. That's just my personal opinion. But if it does, it's great that we got guys like Al and Ethan and people watching it like hawks so they can let us know what's going on. So, but There's no more hands, so it's open floor if anybody's got anything they want to talk about. Fine, then I'll just close the call.
You know what?
Well,
You know
I just
what's
want to say
interesting?
hi to the gang. That's all. Hello, hello, gang.
What up, Elo?
Hi, Elohim.
I'm glad you changed that fake muscle picture you were trying to scare with people with.
Look
at
your
least
picture.
mine's real, man.
Yeah, look at
At
your
least
picture.
mine's real. It's not.
Yours is
Dude,
not real.
Sugar's been hitting the gym. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
I've been working out since you left. See, I knew you would come back someday.
Yeah, when I saw that profile picture.
But
sugar cut up and looking hot like a bowl of
but you know,
like a bowl of spicy curry, boy.
Hey, good call, Ben. Thank you.
Thanks, Pedro.
You know, it's good to see that, you know, I started with all of you, you know, when you guys started doing the calls, and it's good to see that, you know, we all are together, and, you know, whatever will happen in next 3 weeks, either Adam Aaron is going to become the most hated CEO, or, you know, something good will happen. But we all know the way it's going, what's going to happen. Hopefully it will help people, because there are a lot of people like Team DRS. There are people, those who have hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know on average people are down like $50 to $70,000 they are down. So I really hope that something good can come. If not, man, we people need to hold this snake CEO accountable, because this man, these grifters, this board, and all these YouTubers and all these people, they have used people. There are a lot of good people in this community, and they used just to enrich themselves. How much good these people could have done with this community, but rather they just chose to enrich themselves and use these people. And I hope they all get held accountable. This is just disgusting what we all came for and what all this thing became to. It's just sad.
I'll say this real quick. So far today, I'm not changing my stance on how I'm playing this. I'm still playing for the arbitrage. I think you will see, in my opinion, there will be some short covering after the conversion, because if you're not covering, you know, you got shares at $6.60 now post reverse split. And if you're not covering at that low, and AMC is going to be 30, 40, maybe more post reverse split, then when are you going to cover? So I'm going to keep playing it the way I had, but I did see that Froggy Styles came up. I just wondered if he had anything he wanted to input in on this. Just hit your, there you go, buddy.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm kind of glad to see that everybody's starting to come together. Real recognizes real. And like, I was told to hate all these people, and it seems like all these people end up being right the entire time. I remember when I was first approached about Terrible, I was told that she was such a bad, evil person, and I haven't seen her do anything bad or evil. So I disregarded what they said, and that was my best decision. And I noticed that everybody that's honest, that is trying to help or make a difference, they're being attacked by the same exact group. So it's good that all the people that are being attacked came together and realized that those were the bad people. And whether they're paid for but they're definitely complicit. I don't know exactly how they're getting paid. I mean, I've already put out screenshots of different like $100 super chats that they're getting. And I don't know if that's like the only method, but what's going on is definitely a big grift. And it seems like Adam Aaron is part of it. And I'm sure there's more that needs to come out, but this is a good day for us, because like, I definitely want in on the lawsuit. I've seen so much stuff that it's not hearsay. I've seen and witnessed, and I have evidence against the grifters. So we have defamation. We have different things that's going on, different crimes that have been committed. About time a lawsuit comes forward. So that's pretty much all I got to say. I'd like to find a list for people to sign up and become part of this, if that's even possible. But yeah, definitely a good day for everybody. And thanks for hosting this space call, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'll tell you, I was forced to change my position because of APE. I was long AMC. I had to get rid of my AMC because I knew it was coming. Adam Aaron basically made it so that you're either long APE and you're going to get diluted into nothing, or AMC, or you go long on APE and you play the arbitrage game with the market. It's going to be, actually, I think, in my opinion, it'll be a very, very unique court case if it does go to discovery, because nothing like this has ever happened before. And that might be one of his ways out of this is, you know, the corporate governance was already set up. The certificate of a corporation had this potential on their books since 2013. And this has never been done in court before, something like this being set up. So it's going to be really interesting. That's for sure. It added more ingredients to the soup, the shit soup that we've been in for 2 years. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Hey, do anybody want to go over that article or no?
I'm still waiting on Matt to come in. I'm going to go read it on the side because it's a Bloomberg account. So I got to go renew my Bloomberg, but,
this column should be free. This column should be free for everyone, by the way.
It's free. I'm reading it now, Spence. It's free.
Oh, let me try to pull it up again. Maybe they got me blocked. I don't know.
Maybe you just need a new phone, Spence. All the money you've been making grifting, you can afford to buy a new phone.
Boy, I got a new phone. You know that. I made my money. I made my money on APE playing it correctly. Is what happened.
Spence, if you could open.
Oh my gosh, I keep hitting this stupid button. Sorry, PJ.
Let me try to get to it, PJ. All right. Because I'm working between my phone and my PC, so nothing on PC on Twitter is the same as my phone. I'm trying to. Matt. There it is. Matt Levine, Bloomberg, business. Maybe I just need to give him my email or something. It's not taking me to the right link. Let me sign up for their newsletter. Continue. It's not taking me to the article anymore, suddenly.
Yeah, it kind of can get.
Oh, I'm clicking the wrong. I'm clicking the wrong one. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Here we go.
It's a long article and it's pretty detailed, but it's very good.
But the crux of it is, you know, he breaks down the lawsuit. I mean, it's worth reading because he gives a background to, to the apes and this shareholder vote and the details of the depository trust company and everything, which is covered in the lawsuit. Well, but then in just terms of on the lawsuit, you know, he says there's basically two main arguments. You know, one's a technical one or Delaware law that says, you know, that common shareholders should have their own vote on any charter amendment that would alter or change the powers of those shares. And here he says he's not really convinced that that's a good argument because if it were true, then boards could never issue voting preferred stock without shareholder approval, and that would kind of come as a surprise to basically the history of jurisprudence on preferred stock issuance.
You guys want me just to read it?
Yeah, it's longer. Yeah, that's fine. I could just give a quick summary of the second point. The second one, he seems to find more persuasive potentially. He says ultimately he sympathizes with the board and what they're trying to do in exercising the fiduciary duty. You know, here the idea being trying to pay down debt so that they avoid bankruptcy. And he makes the point, which I made earlier, that Delaware courts are very sympathetic, to the board of directors and their business decisions like this.
Right.
But he also says, but they are less sympathetic to boards who try to take voting rights away from shareholders. And he says, in his opinion, there's something about the apes that feel like cheating. So he says ultimately he doesn't know what will happen. So ultimately, he says, as we discussed earlier, the depository trust aspect is the one that's a bit more novel and is a bit more unclear about how a court might look at it. And that's the one that looks like it's potentially could have teeth if you felt that you didn't want this vote to go through. But I think, as we discussed earlier, a big overarching question is, if this vote doesn't go through, is that good for shareholders? I mean, if the company is burning cash and they have a huge amount of interest to pay, and they're not yet back at the point where the box office is at a level that they're generating cash, does this just hasten potentially bankruptcy sooner when they might be able to avoid it if they can, and if they can do this conversion and then sell more shares and not sell shares by selling APE at 50 cents.
That's my position too, and people may not like it, and that's fine. But I was like, I'm going to go buy APE because I know what's going to happen to AMC, and we've known for months, and I've shared my opinion on it, and so far it's happened, and it is happening. Now, am I mad that Adam Aaron did this, and the MOAS and the squeeze is off the table because he's bailing out short sellers? That's exactly what he's doing. It is a hack. It's a cheat. APE is a hack. We're going to let you do this with this vote by selling you these shares, but you're going to cover after this reverse split and get off our backs. And if you don't cover, then you run the risk of carrying a 500% cost to borrow for the next year into 2024, which people are already talking about. 2024 is going to be bullish for AMC. People are buying leaps out until 2024. So personally, I just want the vote to pass because I flipped over to APE. It's in my best interest now. Is it great for the ultimate squeeze that everybody wants? No. But are you going to get that with the way FINRA, the DTCC, and the SEC have been ruining retail just as much? The point is, in my case with this lawsuit, the SEC has known about all of this for over 2 years and have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. So where does that put the SEC implicated in this the entire time, sitting back and watching what's going on? I think Adam Aaron, the SEC, the DTCC all came together, created this plan, said, we're going to get you off. We're going to get the shorts off your back, but we're going to let them close in the money. And then if retail decides to invest in this, whatever way they do, and they make money, good for them. If not, then oh well. And I might, maybe I'm just desensitized to it. Not trying to be depressive on the play, but I personally think the whole MOAS situation was off the table as soon as Adam Aaron said that T0 was likely legal. That's my personal opinion. So,
and handed over shares to Mudrick and everything he's done along the way.
Right.
I just can't believe he named this thing APE. Like, what a slap in the face. It's honestly so gross when I think about it.
Just one other thing. I know we were talking earlier about Adam Aaron, the issue, like in, from 2020 to 2021. And it looks like, they issued a bunch of stock, AMC, when they still had authorization. They issued, basically, a bunch between 3 and 5, and then another tranche at maybe $10 a share. And then in June 2021, when I guess there was another run up, they sold another, bunch at 50. So they did catch some of the run ups. One observation, by the way, and I'll share this. I meant to ask Marc, Marc Cohodes about it. But I was following, Bed Bath & Beyond. Situation that has some similarities in terms of, it was a meme stock. There's speculation of distress, etc. But if you guys recall earlier this year, Bed Bath and Beyond, had a few squeezes, from a very low base, and then they, a couple of weeks ago, they had a very big one, and it was immediately followed by, this very, very dilutive financing with a firm called Hudson Bay Capital. But what I thought was strange was like just the level of the squeeze the day that they announced this dilutive offering, and the level of volume, and just out of nowhere, it seemed like it was orchestrated, with the offering to squeeze, to orchestrate a squeeze to immediately follow with this highly dilutive offering. And the investment bank that was involved in that Bed Bath Beyond deal was B. Riley Securities. Now I'm looking back now because I just pulled it up because I was curious about what average price did AMC sell AMC stock, not APE, but AMC stock, when they sell that authorization. That when they sold, when they got the best price was at $50 a share. That was June 3rd, 2021. The book runner on that was actually B. Riley Securities, and that was the only at the money offering. Actually, no, the other ones involved B. Riley. So, anyways, I just the reason I bring this up is, etc. And you saw unusual trading in Bed Bath and Beyond. But yeah, I was just pointing out what I saw with the AMC issuances. It looks like AMC worked with B. Riley as well. So to the extent B. Riley knows how to orchestrate a squeeze for its clients to raise money, perhaps that could be good for AMC if it's gonna raise more money in the future.
And just wanted to say that. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that. That AMC does need to raise money. Like they are burning money every quarter. Some people think that bankruptcy's off the table and stuff. Like if the vote goes, choice is going to be to sell APE. And APE is very likely going to plummet. In my opinion, if the vote goes no, because now why would any investor buy APE? If it's not going to go into AMC, it doesn't really, it does have value, but like the reason why APE was going down before the news came out that it was going back into AMC was because, there was no real future for it. It was just a method to dilute. And if people think that they're, like it's going to vote no, and then, APE is just going to, they could just sell APE into oblivion to pay off their debt. APE could be selling for near nothing, and then they're just going to be diluting all AMC shares by selling APE, because APE is AMC. So if you vote no and they have to dilute APE even further for pennies, then I don't even know what would be more hurtful to investors, like voting no and diluting at such a low price, or bringing all of APE back in and then diluting at a higher price, alongside the AMC shares. I'm trying to do the math on it. It's it's hard to determine.
Sigrid, I think you're completely right. I completely agree with you on that point. And the fact is if you're bullish on the company, and if you use Interactive Brokers, or if you use many other brokers, you can buy, first lien debt. That means you're buying the equivalent of like a first mortgage on all the movie theaters in the business, and it's trading at 60 cents on the dollar, and it's yielding 7.5%. That means it's yielding 10% on what you pay, and if they survive, that means they pay off their debt, right? And if they pay off their debt, you make a nice return, on its debt. That's one way to play it, but yeah, it's not clear. It's not clear that's better for the company if this vote doesn't happen. I don't see how this lawsuit, maybe it helps with a momentary squeeze in AMC stock, but does it really help the common stock in the long term if the company can't raise more capital? I think ultimately that works to the benefit of the shorts. I think that's actually probably the shorts' best scenario, and that's like their dream come true. The company can't raise any more capital.
Hey,
I think the people who just want a short-term squeeze, then yeah, that might help. But anyways, that's
Can I say something, man? I understand. It's to me, it's okay. People are still making excuses for Adam Aaron and the company. I get what he has to do for the company and everything, but a lot of us, we came here for fucking squeeze. We came here for making money for ourselves, taking care of us first. Company was after. It was squeeze and market transparency. All this bullshit came with later on fundamentals and everything. We stayed with everything with Adam Aaron, whether it was Highcroft, we supported him every single thing. And it was forced down our throat. This ape shit, nobody asked for this ape shit. You don't think the stock was at $12? He could have sold 100 or $200 million and made easily $2-3 billion. Enough of these excuses, man. Maybe enough making excuses for this guy. Ask him the right questions. We would not be even here. And yet here we are after 2 years. We're still making excuses. Yep, I know company needs money. What about people? So if this thing don't work, the reverse split don't work, Adam Aaron should be in jail because he's the one who started all this. Nobody asked for it. Don't you think that? I mean, it's just this shit is like people are down $800,000, $50,000, $70,000. People are still making excuses for this fucking scenario. Fuck that shit. God damn, man. When will it be enough? When will people learn to stand up for themselves and like?
I think I understand I get what Sugar's saying, and I get what arbitrage is saying. The situation we're in now is either APE passes, the vote passes, and we make our arbitrage money and we see what AMC does after if shorts start covering, or it doesn't pass and APE goes to absolute dirt. It's not going to have any, if much, value if the vote doesn't pass. And whatever your prerogative is on the vote, I respect you either way. Some people have different opinions on it, but the truth of the fact is that this was set up wholly and individually by Adam Aaron as CEO and chairman. He's responsible for the outcome of it. And some people have already come up and started filing lawsuits. So we have about 15 business days until the vote. I'm going to watch carefully to see if any type of action comes from the Chancery Court. If it does, I will immediately reverse my position on APE. If I see that the court is going to file an injunction or halt or whatever they're going to do, delay this, I'm going to sell all my APE immediately and move on. And then I'm done with it. If I don't see any action up until the 14th and this passes, then I'm going to stay in APE and play the arbitrage and make my money either way. So, like I said, we all got put in a sticky situation. The regulators had no intention of helping retail whatsoever from day one. Hence that we had, 12 major halts over AMC over the past 2 years, 13 on APE the first day it was issued, if not more, 43 million FTDs. The regulators are not for us. I don't think the Delaware courts are for us. I do not think the Delaware courts are going to give two craps about a pension fund. I do think there might be some type of discovery, like Marc said, if like Musk decided to go, why am I being charged and asked by the SEC for tweeting 420 when Adam Aaron is out there tweeting checkmate and he's not getting called in, which leads me to believe that the SEC is working with him to unwind this big short position. So we'll see what happens. I want to thank, I got to get off here. I want to thank everybody for coming up. Sugar, always co-host. Tara, thank you for coming and checking in on us. PJ, Will, Pete from Philly, Marc, obviously, Al, Ethan, everybody who came in. Thank you. Sorry if I missed your name. We'll do another call if there's more news to pop up with this. Hopefully Tara and Marc come back. We'll keep it going. We'll keep people informed. And then we'll find out if there's anything retail investors can do, probably through Al, regarding this lawsuit that's coming up and the people that are involved in it. So, Sugar, if you got anything
I just want to say one thing, man. You might agree, disagree. It's okay. But, stop shitting on those people. Those are already down thousands of dollars. Just stop calling them shills because they want to ask questions, because their livelihood, their hard-earned money is involved. So stop. That's the least as a retail investor after 2 years you can do. Thank you, Spence, for this call, man, and thanks to everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody that came in. Please share the call out and try to get in touch with the pinned tweet above. Try to get in touch with Matt Levine and ask him if he'll come to another call, and we'll set it up. So, hope everybody has a good day. Don't lose your minds over this, you guys. Stay calm. Stay, cool, collected. Cool as a cucumber is what we call it. And watch the news close, and don't sit back holding a position that detrimental news is probably going to come out on. Be alert and aware of your position through the next 15 business days, and make sure you keep up with the news. You do not want to get caught on a bad day with a 30% downside. And that's all I got to say. Thanks for coming, guys. I'm going to head out. Appreciate y'all. All right. I think that's it. Appreciate everybody coming. You guys have been great. Please share the call. That was quite a big call. I didn't expect it. Appreciate everybody that came in. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm staying in my 8 position as of right now. When Fidelity sold my shares randomly this morning at 2:33, I was pissed, and I wish I would have waited. I knew today, I was like, something's wrong today. They liquidated my position out of nowhere. My stop limit was 215, which funny enough, we hit 215 today. Somehow they sold my position, never called me back. And then we hit 215. I wish I would have waited just a little bit longer to buy back in. I could have made a good flip today, but I was impatient. I lost my cool because of the lawsuit news. I'm going to continue to hold. I still believe arbitrage is the best bet. Not going to change my position until I hear definitive news on the lawsuit and what's going to happen with it. I personally think, in my opinion, that Adam Aron and company have done everything that they knew they were supposed to do, that they could do legally, according to the company bylaws, the governance, and the certificate of incorporation. And I'm telling you, I have no faith in the Delaware court system to come out and protect retail because of what's going on here, because of a lot of things with what Arbitrage said in the space call. He said a lot. He said it would be more detrimental now to shareholders to not pass the vote, because then Adam Aron wouldn't be able to raise money at higher prices. He would have to sell billions of APE at 50, probably 30 cents, if anything. So my personal opinion still is I'm for the arbitrage. Whatever you vote, I respect you. You got to vote for your own position. Yes, no, whatever. I voted yes because I want my arbitrage play to kick up. I'm just going to say this. If arbitrage passes, if conversion passes, and the shorts start to cover after the reverse split because they have super cheap shares with a really high stock price, their shares are going to keep valuing up as they cover, so they're in the money twice, and then it'll just dump. And that's what I'm playing for. If we see anything with not Highcroft, I've seen Highcroft in the chat, anything with AMC nearing $15-20 a share, I'm going to make MOAS money. That's my thing. I've got enough cheap shares of APE where if it converts, I'm going to make money that people talked about MOAS with. So that's my position. I wish you all the best of luck. If I change my position, I will come on immediately. I'll tweet it. I'll stream it. I'll say, look, this is bad. Things went to the downside. I'm getting out. I'm taking whatever gain, loss I had in this whole play, and I'm walking away, but I will let everybody know what I'm doing. Thank you for coming. Please like and sub. Please share. And if we have another call, if we get Matt Levine on, that'd be great. But if not, then we'll do another call